Each week we listen to an album, here's a remind. Just know it's gonna take about 3 hours of your time to hear us complain or praise each other's taste. But no matter what, at the end of the day, we're just best friends who love different music. We are earbuds, earbuds, earbuds. This is Earbuds.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Earbuds. If you're watching this on YouTube, first of all, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe and comment down below. Tell us everything you're thinking about. We want to know, we really do. Good or bad, good or bad. And if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, but you think that's your only option, no. Find us on all podcast platforms and follow us there. You can download the audio-only episodes and listen to them on your way to freaking work, baby.
Oh my God!
This is Earbuds.
Well, welcome to Earbuds, another episode, might I add. And yes, hats off to you, and I tip my fedora to you, good sir, and welcome back to the show. And if you're here with us today, you've in fact won the internets. So 1,000 internets to you for being here. This is, of course, the show where we don't joke around.
No.
Because what we do is we both like music.
That's right.
And sometimes it's different music. And sometimes our music tastes fall into the proverbial inverted butt crack in the center of the diagram.
Cheeks.
Inverted butt crack. I don't even want to think. That's like dividing by zero.
A limit does not exist.
So these inverted butt cheeks, of course,
On your butt crack.
hold all the bands that we love together. But outside of that, what falls outside of that? Well, you're about to find out. So last week, of course, based off whatever dumb shit I brought, Landon brought us the Pink Spiders, Teenage Graffiti.
Yes, and on that really quick, if I may.
An addendum? Postscript.
Well, I mentioned that I looked online, and I have looked before. You can't find the album in physical form. The CD I have somewhere laying around. That's easy to find. You can't find the wax circle disc. It was like $150. I looked for it on Discogs. You can get it used for like $150. Like, gee whiz, really?
Wow. We're going to have to somehow splice this into the last episode.
I went on to Bandcamp for Bandcamp Friday. And I like to go on Bandcamp. I check it out. And this may come up later. But I find some new and noteworthy bands on Bandcamp, etc. And then I was going to buy something on Bandcamp for Bandcamp Friday. And I said, I wonder if Pink Spiders has a Bandcamp. Let's just go see. And these are being sold for $20 on Bandcamp. The exact one that's on Discogs for $150.
Someone doesn't know that.
And it even has the bonus
track.
song and another bonus song.
We do it all the time when we didn't listen to.
It has the bonus tracks.
2 bonus tracks and the secret song.
So I said, all right, I'll just grab that.
Wow.
So
and they just have it.
They just had it. And I was like,
awesome.
Maybe because it's Bandcamp, like they haven't updated.
You're going to order it and they're going to
send an email.
Opened our Bandcamp in 15 years.
They're going to send. Yeah, I thought, they'll probably say, sorry, we're actually out of stock. Nope, they shipped it the same day.
So it seems to me the limited availability of it is just more based on they are they're just selling them now themselves.
Well, yeah.
There's no barcode on there.
Mean Buzz Records, which it wasn't on Mean Buzz Records. So I imagine they
might have repressed it.
Yeah. But it's the limited edition in that it is the gold.
Hey, I'm all for, I just bought an album that was going for hundreds of dollars. They repressed it and said it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. And on the Bandcamp, it didn't show the other songs. It just was the regular album that I know. And I said, that's probably why it's not 150. Like the special edition with the bonus tracks, that's 150. And then it came and it had those too. So I said, all right, I don't care. But I had to just buy it so I could bring it here to show you, buddy. because I knew you'd appreciate me owning the Pink Spiders Teenage Graffiti on a wax circle.
Have you checked out that extra bonus track?
I have not. It just came a few days ago.
Yeah.
And I just listened to it for a week straight.
Well, speaking of that leads me into a little thing with this album that I wasn't going to bring up, but I might as well.
Sure.
It sucks. No. Well, okay, so you had that. You got your album. We're very excited for you.
Thank you.
Which led me to think, what dewdrop rolls off the elephant's back and lands in my cup from Pink Spiders, you know? And I thought, did you happen to look through this band's discography, their album artwork? Mm-hmm. So I picked one of my favorite albums by Every Time I Die. And they also have Pink on basically every album from Gutter Phenomenon on, or Red. They had Red before that, kind of. So there's a similar aspect. We talked about the Pink, so I said that'd be fun. That's as good a reason as any to cart this one out.
Sure.
I don't really. Yeah, they also use Pink, and we talked about how it's kind of funny that bands do that and think it's like punk. I don't mind it here. I like this album cover.
No, this is cool. May I?
Yeah, go for it.
Break it over my head.
And feel it if you don't mind. Feel it. Just rub your finger over it.
Oh.
Bumpy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that pink to you? I think it is. It's kind of a darker pink.
It's a darker pink.
It's not that hot pink that I don't mind this pink.
I don't mind it. I think they have certainly worse album covers than this. So this is about as good as you're gonna get. But so that was one reason. There's another reason I picked it, because there's a lyric in here that made me think of Pink Spiders that we'll get to. That'll be fun. So if you're playing along at home,
if it's the same one I made me think of.
It might be.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it, I'm sure.
But speaking of the record and you not being able to find that and needing to purchase it, so when I bought this record, when it came out, I was living in a little town called Chicago, and I was just kind of between places. You're moving around. I didn't have my record player with me, but I was still buying the records. Sure. And it was also a good time when, for some reason, people have stopped doing this a lot, but it would come with the download code.
Yeah.
So I was buying the records just for later. Mm-hmm. Use the download code to put it on my computer, etc. And I just have it. I never look at the record. It's just black, whatever. I don't need to look at it. Just stays in there. About a year or maybe over a year goes by, year or two. I'm on Epitaph's website or something, and I see a notice that says, "We messed up the Every Time I Die pressing of Low Teens." Did I say it's Low Teens? That's the one we're covering. Low Teens. Not Low T, which is what we have.
Yeah.
But they said, we messed it up. Side A is missing the last two songs. And I was like, you have to be effing kidding me. So I slide that bad boy out of there. Big old chunk of... It just trails right into the middle. And I counted those songs and I said, yeah, I'm not getting them. But I didn't know for a long enough time to where they were not shipping any more replacements out.
Sure.
They were just shipping plain discs. And I was like, I cannot buy this album. I listen to it all the time, but I cannot. And I like the songs that are missing. So I'm like, I can't get it again. So I have not purchased, but this bringing it up on the show has reminded me I need to find a replacement disc or just purchase it again.
Guys out there, if you can help my friend.
So if you have one, I want the hot pink one. And I tried to make an offer on one on Discogs, and the guy declined my offer, and then he turned off make an offer. And I'm like, do I pay $20 for just the disc? Because he's just going to send me a disc.
Really?
And I'm like, I've already paid for it, though. But it was also like 8 years ago where I'm like, I have $20.
Yeah.
And I'm going to listen to it. So
at this point,
I don't know. It's just been a hard week for me.
No. Have you... Because...
I know I said that last week, but this might even be worse.
This... A rarity like that might be worth something. Have you looked into that aspect?
I have, and I think some people think it's worth something, and other people are probably in the correct mind that's like, yeah, but it's not. It doesn't have the songs on it.
Yeah,
because I have some where it's like we have the wrong labels on it, and I have that Clash album London Calling where it's like there's some songs missing on the back, and it's how you know it's like the original pressing, but I was still able to purchase it. So it's like it depends who cares about it. I can't tell.
Of course.
Because it could just be useless. And it could be a Frisbee at this point. Shaun of the Dead, throw it at your head.
I just know, you see all those.
I hoped. I was like, this could be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to pay for my child's college education.
I think, though, too, like the modern, maybe in 50 years it will be.
I'm going to hold on to it.
Of course. I mean.
I was confused that the guy was going to send me the new one without a sleeve. Because I was like, so what are you keeping
What are you going to do?
Yeah, I was like, why don't you have the sleeve? Are you just keeping a misprint? Or did they send you... Because I talked to him, so whatever. But I want it. I'm probably going to get it. Don't, if you hear this, please don't go get it before me. Or do and send it to Boogie Woogie Avenue. So, Low Teens by Every Time I Die. I was going to probably get to it at some point here. What did we talk about? The band as I like them?
The band as you like it.
The reason I also picked them was because...
Low Teens, your favorite type of lady?
Because we talked about, I already did a low T joke. Right?
Wait, that's Rifer.
It's Rife. Not
the Matt Rife, who does like low teens.
Yes.
I was joking earlier about Joey. Joey likes him old.
But about Matt Rife, we're going to have to cut this out when he sues us. I'm a big fan of you guys.
He loves us. Get that going around. No, I'll cut all this.
So people like them long.
Okay.
They say, I like you guys long.
That's not what I heard.
I'm trying to see here. What 2006, when did that come out? The Spiders?
2005
2005,
or
okay.
6, I think.
That's
around that time.
Because
around the same time as this.
I picked this band because that's about the time I got into this band.
Or
I was like,
not this album.
Not this album.
Yeah.
But I was like, what was I listening to when that album came out?
Sure.
And this came up as something because I was like, I think that's why I wasn't listening to them, because I was into this stuff and still am into this stuff. It's just a different type of music.
Yeah.
So this is where we do our Venn diagram thing. They
get it.
They inverts up. Let me read off my list here.
Okay. Whoa.
Okay. Also released by Epitaph, Brett from Bad Religion, another Earbuds connection.
Earbuds alum.
Got one of my favorite lyricists in a band, so I wanted to bring that up since we're talking about lyrics in these episodes, and I think we kind of talked about a little of the tongue-in-cheek nature of the Pink Spiders.
Yeah, and I said fully, I'm not necessarily there for the lyrics for Pink Spider guys.
But it made me think of this. Keith, the singer for Every Time I Die, is always sort of turning a phrase.
Yeah,
trying to do
there's
some clever stuff.
Some witticism.
But we also talked about that band, Pink Spiders. You were like, I don't really personally care about these guys. Not in a malicious way.
No.
But I don't have a connection to like,
yes.
When we talk about Green Day and sort of as much as you can know one of the most famous people in the world.
Right.
Like going along for the ride with them and knowing their personality and,
you feel like
they care about their fans and they let you in and you feel like you know them. And
you feel an openness in their lyrics. Like, I don't think Pink Spiders are singing songs that are telling us about their real life. I think this guy is. I think a lot of the bands that we've brought up are. I think that's something that we connect to when someone's being open and honest about their troubles, desires, place in the world, all this stuff.
Or being Lucifer.
Don't
forget. So this band even more so than other ones, because when I got into them, it was sort of 2006 was like Warped Tour, all that, bands were putting out.
Yeah.
And there was DVDs, Landon.
Oh, yeah.
So you could buy a DVD of a band making an album and they would be in the studio. And I wish people still did that.
Yeah.
And they put out a DVD, and I'm sorry I have to say this. It's called Shit Happens. I know. And so that was like them on the road. It had live footage from the concerts. I'd never seen them live to that point. So you get to see them playing all their stuff that I knew, older songs, but it's with them in the van. They're going into gas stations. They're on Warped Tour. So you're like, it's just a documentary about them that's really long.
Get it.
And you like them. They seem cool. You know, you're like, this is a cool band. And they're all funny. They're just doing jokes. It's just the kind of stuff you like to watch when you're a teenager and you like a band. So you kind of got to know them. I've seen them a ton of times. I've met a few of them. They're very super nice guys. I don't know. They're a band I've seen a lot. I've followed for a long time. Now, unfortunately, they did break up.
Yes.
Like 2 years ago at this point, probably, after putting out probably their best record ever. They're also a band where we've talked about some where it's like, yeah, they get to the point, maybe with Green Day, where it's like, maybe we've heard their best album at this point. This was one I think they consistently, every time they put out an album, I'm not the only person to think this, just judging from what other people have said, but they only got better. You're like, how did they do this? They put out a great album, then they'd come out with like this, and you're like, this is great. And then their next one, their final album is like a double album where you're like, this is crazy, even with all the stuff happening in their band, that they just got better and better and better. And then it kind of makes you bummed when they break up.
Sure.
Because a band that's like, oh, they kind of, I don't know. At this point, it seemed like they were probably ending things, and, you know, the songs weren't as great or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You go, maybe it was time for them to break up. This one, it was like, oh man, especially with this one, it was such a different album for them to put out. But you get to know people and follow them.
Sure.
And one of the things when they broke up, which was a bummer because it was kind of a messy thing.
It was tumultuous, wasn't it?
It was very tumultuous. I don't know if you read into that at all or saw.
I read a little bit, yeah.
And both sides have their own story, and then you start to go,
who do I believe?
Man, who do I believe? Why is this guy a dick?
Do I believe the 4 guys that say one guy was a jerk? Or do I believe the one guy?
And I will say, I saw them on their final tour, which at the time,
You didn't know.
I didn't know that. I had tickets to see them again in Chicago. A couple months later, they were going to be opening for Under Oath. And I talked to their guitar player who I had met a couple years before.
Mr. Big Shot.
And I had met before when I was like 16 or something. Oh. And it was just one of those things where it's like, wow, it's been teens. 13 years.
Mid-teens.
No, it's low teens.
Yeah.
What do you think low teens? 11? And then 12 is...
No, 11 and 12 is...
So 13...
13 is low teen.
Okay.
16 is mid-teen.
Okay, you pass. So I talked to their guitar player, and it seemed like everything was on the up and up because we talked about that upcoming show, and he's like, yeah, that's going to be awesome. And it's like, was he being,
just nice to a random guy?
Yeah. Like,
did he remember you from when you were 16?
No, but I did show him the picture, and we recreated it. He was like, he's like, we both had a glow up. And I was like, yeah. So he's super nice guy, but we talked for a little bit and then talked about the show. But it seemed like when I think in retrospect, I'm like, Keith, the singer, was sort of off in the corner doing his own thing. And like the guitar player was letting some kid from the audience play the drums and stuff after the show. Like they were just hanging out with people and their kids and stuff.
So this was after the show.
And it seemed like the singer was off doing his own. It seemed like there was already I think he was traveling separate from them.
Yeah.
And you start to get bummed out. And I think their bassist finally put out a thing, and he was like, I'm embarrassed I have to say this, and I wish the band that we worked so hard on didn't end publicly this way.
Yeah. I did read all of that stuff.
Which is funny because also he left the band for a time and came back. So it's like he wasn't with the band the whole time, but I understand. He came back and they're like, this was the band, and if he's not going to be in it, we're not going to do this. But we talked about, the reason I bring this up is because you talked about the Pink Spiders using the same name.
Yeah.
With kind of different members, and it's like, what's a band that has members that can go off and do other things? Now, those guys, the 4 guys from the band, have formed another band with Will Putney, who produced this album and their last one. Super good producer. He's produced a lot of albums that I love, and he's in some other bands too. but he's in this band with them, and the lead singer of the guy that was the lead singer of Dillinger Escape Plan is their vocalist, and Keith has started his own band with a couple guys called Many Eyes, and I think they both have taken fans from this band. I listen to both. I think there are people that feel both aren't as good as this, and that's probably fair. I think there's stuff to get out of both of them.
Because Keith has started his own band.
Keith has started his own band, so if you like his voice and his lyrics, which I do, then you're like, awesome, I'm still getting that.
Right.
And if you like the music and stuff, you're getting that. Everyone except for Andy, the guy I talked to, who has become a professional wrestler.
Okay.
He, I believe, decided now that they're in their 40s, he said, I've only been in a band since I was a teenager, and I don't know how to do anything. He's like,
so I'll go into wrestling.
I'm going to go into wrestling, which is funny. Apparently, I don't watch wrestling. I know you don't either.
Hey. No, I don't.
I was about to be shook. But he's, I guess, very big, like very popular in professional wrestling now.
Nice.
Like he's a big name in wrestling. I don't know. So he decided to do that and step away from music for a while to like live his life a different way now.
Has he made a statement about Vince McMahon?
Yes, he did say, he said, I don't even want to talk about it, but they asked him to give a statement about Vince McMahon. And he just said, call me Ishmael. I don't think he knew what they were talking about.
No.
It's so like random to say.
That is,
I just didn't want to say that because it makes him sound kind of stupid. But to say, call me Ishmael, or they call me Ishmael, was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that probably means we should get into the album. But
I'm just looking up really quick to make sure I have the name of the wrestling guy right. And it is Vince McMahon.
It is.
Okay.
So this was produced by Will Putney.
Yep.
Who's now in their other band. They always, I don't know what else to say. I like them, and I'm sure we'll get into it in the album, what the album's about.
Yeah.
What's your deal with them? Heard of them?
Heard of them. Never listened. I've probably heard them just in the background in the van, as it were. I believe one of our little Bocephus in the band would listen to them, and would occasionally. We would play a bunch of shows with Christian. Now, here's my question: Are these boys Christian boys?
No, not at all.
But Keith is.
He has sort of become, if not Christian, spiritual, to the extent that it sounds like there was some pushback from the other band members.
That's what I was wondering.
Because
this doesn't seem.
No, and there's some stuff on the new album. Like, that's the thing is, I think if he is a believer of that stuff, which is fine. Everyone's coming after me. They hate this podcast. Believers will hate this podcast. That should be the ad for this, so people listen.
Yeah,
and they're like,
good.
they didn't do anything.
No.
So I think because of what happened during this time in his life and stuff,
he said, "I need Jesus."
It pretty much.
Okay.
And their last album was not really about that either. Like there's references to spirituality and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was never. And they started more as a party band. Like I would say the stuff that was big, like when they were doing Warped Tour and all that stuff, it was like their reputation was sort of as a party band, which I don't know, like songs about drinking and stuff they don't mean anything to me.
Right.
Just because that's not my life.
Yeah.
And I can listen to those things sort of as like reading a book, Yeah. Like, okay, this is their life and stuff, but the songs were sort of about how, not all of them, but they had the reputation of like being very large partiers, and that's the stuff people would play, and their shows are very crazy. Their shows are insane. So I think that's how they started, and now it's become more, I feel like there's more meaning in what they talk about, and slowly over time you saw him starting to touch on those things. A lot of talk about death, not even on this one, but the ones before this, very just like meditative on those subjects, which I find interesting.
In the name of the band.
Yeah, which is, I believe, a Counting Crows song is the name of the band.
Interesting.
This is also the first band I got crowd surfed at.
Whoa!
Without my permission, might I say? No consent on my part.
They just picked you up by the trousers?
I was with my brother. Woo! We went to go see Every Time I Die together. I felt my feet lift off the ground. I was crowd surfed to the front. This was at People's Court in Des Moines. I got on stage with them. And then I know, I've seen the videos. The band members don't like you up there too long.
No.
Right? I'm not getting a kick in the ass. So I jumped off, landed on people. They put me back on. This happened 3 times. And then I started panicking because I couldn't get down.
I just want to go back to my brother.
And then I got down. I couldn't find him. Finally, because I think at the 3rd time I made myself into a ball, so I fell, my neck broke on the ground.
Had to drop you.
So I just got some great memories with these. Their shows are very, very intense, which I like at a concert for bands like this too, especially when everyone knows all the lyrics, and I like to get up in there.
Yeah,
I have to get up in there.
Yeah, I know that about you.
They call me towards them. I wear my contacts for these shows.
Yeah. I've seen Joey's come to school the next day after a show and had a completely black eye. His face is bloodied.
That's just because my parents said,
yeah, it's been a rough week.
Yeah. So you heard of them?
So, yeah, I mean, we play, being in a piano pop rock band, we naturally played in a lot of metal shows, because that's all the bands that are around here, at least at the time that we were doing it.
It was a big Christian metal phase.
I mean, and they weren't even Christian necessarily, because it's a pretty small town. And the only bands that were local and putting shows up were metal bands.
And we might have talked about this before, but I think the barrier of entry is why do people like punk or metal? Sort of anyone can do it.
Yeah.
I think there are people that go beyond that, where they're talented, but it's we can get, even if he sucks, we can get a guy to scream.
Right.
You know?
That was most of my experience with any metal. And I know this band came up, I'm sure, at some point in that time, because like you said, around then they're getting big. I would say 2006 time. But no, I've known that I don't like this kind of music.
Yeah.
And
you stuck with that.
And I stuck with that.
It's brave. It's brave of you.
I'll try it on, and then I'll quickly take it back off and say it doesn't work for me. So no, I haven't listened to them or an album of theirs in full. I'm sure I've heard a couple songs.
Yeah, it's I think the ones before this, there's some good stuff on them, but I felt like this was the best one to bring to you, because I feel like it's maybe my favorite, but like I said, their last one, the double album, is all great. I just didn't want to bring in over an hour of shit, 20 songs. Yeah.
I did see one track was called Sex, Sex, Sex.
Yeah. And I did want to play that one for you, but I was afraid the table might start tipping toward the camera and be at a 45 degree slope.
Oh, but the reason I bring up the Christian thing is because I was just looking up stuff about the band, and one of the things was what's his name? Huxley? No, Keith Buckley.
Yep.
It's got in a Twitter fight with someone who said, great, more Christian music or something about his new project. And he tweeted back at this person, go back and read the lyrics of my other songs. I've always been talking about this, which I think, to his point, was I've always been talking about actually, he maybe even said this. I've always been talking about where my place in the world, or something like that, which I think is true. So I was just wondering, it seemed like he was, but then I read he's now an ordained minister, which anyone can be. And I was just like, so what are these guys? Because none of these songs are anti-religion.
Kind of.
Some of them.
Yeah.
I felt, which is fine. The anti-religion people are going to hate this.
They're going to hate this.
But so I I do that. I see the album. And Fear and Trembling, of course, is Kierkegaard.
He is a reader and a poet. So Keith also was which I think this probably goes back 20 years now, but before the band, he was I believe a high school English teacher.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So I think his lyrics have always been a little more, not more so than everyone, but he's a band that you could people that I know that really like this band really liked his lyrics specifically for being a harder band where there's a lot of screaming and stuff. A lot of people know his lyrics and what he's talking about. And like that, I think he talks a lot about, like I said, death and spirituality. I think at this point, he probably considers himself Christian, but I know that he said during this kind of fight was like there are some very political songs on that album, on the new one, and some ones about spirituality and that stuff. And he said there was some pushback on those lyrics because maybe they felt like it was taking a side from some of their fans or whatever, which I get, but I also think you should speak what's on your mind.
Yeah.
And so I think some of this comes from this, but like I said, there's songs on his last albums that are about basically just about like, how are these lyrics going to be studied when I'm gone? There's songs about we've as a band, or like we've gone to all these places, and we're all going to everyone's going to end up in the same place,
right,
which is 6 feet down. Just really makes you sad to think about. But then and
after the bad week I've had,
I know I can't even. I'm sorry about that, by the way.
It's sick, really.
So it's something in there within him, and I don't really care. I like his lyrics.
You don't care about what?
I don't even feel like there's that much spirituality in his new songs more than this. I think people are sometimes finding something to be like upset about.
Yeah.
With stuff like that. Like I heard people say, these songs are too generic for Keith to be singing on about his new band. Gotcha. And they're like, and Better Lovers, the other band, all that music was written for Keith to sing on. And it's like, just shut up.
I listened to some of both of it and I said, this all sounds the same to me.
Yeah.
So
I figured that way. Dillinger, and Better Lovers is that guy's voice, the Dillinger Escape Plan's vocalist, which might come up on this show, sorry to say, but it is so specific, it does kind of sound like they're playing kind of what they do a little more technically with Will in there, with him singing on it. It's very specific. Keith, I don't understand. I'm like, it sounds great. I like the music with it. Yeah, I like his voice. I don't think it sounds generic. I mean, that's one guy saying that, so who gives a shit? But
yeah.
And I think he's still got stuff to say. It's just, sometimes you just want the boys to be back.
Sure.
But they also had a TV show on Fuse, I think, where they did it was like each week was another half-hour episode of them on the road. Like they were constantly sort of putting out stuff about the band that just made you, like, I don't know, get to know them more, and you could talk to them at shows. And
yeah, that's tough. And they're brothers.
Yeah, which then Jordan, their guitar player, he's had some stuff to say about Keith, and I was just thinking, like, man, Thanksgiving's probably pretty awkward. Because
it seems like that is the main thrust of the breakup.
Yeah, and they're one of these bands that, as far as I can tell, are big in there. Like if a band from here was large, they would maybe, if they came home and did shows, like they always had a Christmas show,
right,
that all these bands would come play in Buffalo, and all their I think their dad would make food for all the bands and stuff. So like,
was he making the Jonas Brothers popcorn?
Rob's popcorn?
Yeah.
Here's what it is. It's salt and pepper.
Oh,
so
tid the season.
But I think I don't know about this band. I like this stuff, and I hope they're all okay.
Okay, here's one more question before we get into it.
I do have one more thing to say, and go on.
Okay. I meant to bring this up last week, but did this band ever have their van go up in flames that you remember?
Maybe. Why?
Just every band has.
Well,
Pink Spiders did. I know
there's-
Jukebox did.
There's stuff on their videos about their bus or their van breaking down on the side of the road. And
That
having
happens.
to
I
deal with
understand that. But
it. I don't remember if it was ever on fire.
all
I don't-
these, it happened to the Pink Boys, and I'm pretty sure the Jukebox Boys, and I know it's happened to a bunch of other bands where it will just, I don't know what is happening on these vans, on these buses, that they're going up in flames. All of their stuff is lost. What happens? That's just more of a general question. But
What happens, like with the van?
well, just like
Why does it start on fire?
yeah, why does it blow up?
It's all those miles, baby. Just putting the heat on the motor, not good for it.
There's got to be another reason.
There's got to be a better way.
It just spontaneously combusts because the motor's too hot.
Maybe they did the Me Without You and they're using the vegetable oil.
Now that's interesting.
Make you smell like fries, but
I think from here we should keep a tally of what
van has-
band,
okay.
yeah, like how many vans exploded.
write in if some of the bands we've covered in the past have done that so we can kind of retroactively add them
Yeah,
to the
we'll
list.
keep it down.
Last thing about this.
Okay, good.
They have sort of had a rotating list of people in the band. It's always been Keith, Jordan, and Andy Williams. Jordan and Andy on guitar, respectively. They've had more bass players than I could probably count. But Steven has been their main guy sort of throughout the beginning of the band through the end of the band. And I believe as they started getting into a heavier sound, over time they kept getting heavier and heavier, and they kind of brought in drummers that would reflect that. I think their first drummer wanted to go more towards like a Queens of the Stone Age sound, so they said, out of here. They brought in, his name was Rat Boy. Then they brought in a guy named Legs, and he played with them for a while. He was cool. But for this album, this is their only album with Daniel.
You're mad at Bob Ferrari, but that's just
I don't
interesting.
know. Legs is just like
because
we
of
all
that
got him.
double kick.
Yep. They brought in Daniel Davison for this album because they didn't have a drummer at the time. Great drummer. He played for Norma Jean, which was a Christian metal band. And then, well, you keep talking about them. And then he played for the one album that Under Oath did after Aaron left,
Christian band.
Christian metal band. So he played with them.
Just seems like the ones that got big that we know their name of, they're Christian.
Think about that.
Isn't that
The metal bands that got big are Christian.
kind of?
Those two.
Yeah. And Every Time I Die.
Yeah, that's true. So he's great drummer. He does videos for a lot of bands too. He was also in the band Color Revolt. I don't know if you ever listened to them. Okay, they did one album. It's not metal, but I was just surprised that he was part of that project. So he was on this album. That's it. So connection to some other bands, but brought him into the studio, had him do his thing. I believe he toured with them for a while too. Anyway, who cares? This is Low Teens. Which device do I use? And who's your favorite philosopher sort of writer?
Sigmund Freud.
Is he the one that wrote Fear and Trembling?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Okay, hold on.
Let's try that again.
Reset.
Sigmund Freud said that when you are in your low teens, you want to have smacks with your mommy.
Yes.
But no, it was Kierkegaard who said,
Yes.
when you see your mommy, you will enjoy fear and trembling. Hey, could you tune that? Just before the show starts, can you...
Hold on, let me try this. No, that's a...
Don't come in. He's still working on...
Check.
Guys, the show starts in 2 seconds. It's Tid the season.
Give us 5 minutes. Oh, I guess...
Though it may haunt us and break our hearts, death cannot tear us apart. Though break our hearts. Death cannot tear us apart. I'm grateful and open. It's time that I'm chosen. All that old crap that reapers take with my bare hands. A trespass. My heart was holy when I robbed too early graves. I was sick with grief, bruised deep. The desert was lonely. I either took a leap of faith.
Where do you even stop?
These,
Because they're not like songs.
no.
Like they're not music.
I thought we were probably going to get into this trouble with you where there's no chorus to these songs I like.
No.
Hold on, let's get to this.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
a little guy, little old guy.
Is that the old guy you're talking
Yeah.
about? Okay.
So, okay. I usually turn it down, but I like to keep people on their toes.
That's fine.
This is Fear and Trembling. This first song that old guy, as we call him, that's the lead singer of Dead Guy.
That's Dead Guy.
That's Dead Guy. They haven't put out anything for 20 years, and they said, "You want to hop on this?" I guess he said, "Okay." I mean,
if he
it sounds
didn't?
like
They're like, well, we can just say
he's
on it.
like, I wouldn't do it if I could. I would probably go with something like this, and then they hit record on their phone, and like, yeah, that sucks. You won't do it. He's like, anyways, talk to you later.
Uh-huh.
So this is where we get into the meat of the album.
This is the meat?
40 minutes in. The album, did you read what the album's about?
Well, there's some trouble in
There's some trouble in...
his wife's body.
So they're on tour, presumably for their last album. Keith gets the call. His wife is pregnant. She is in... Patch me through. Hello.
Hi.
He gets the call. His wife is in trouble.
He answers the call.
Yes,
Like the Lady
the Lady
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, who we despise.
Like,
get out of our movies.
no, okay, go ahead. He gets the call. This is serious. He gets the call. His wife says,
We can do this because it turned out all right.
yeah.
His wife is going in. Well, yeah, his wife's going to labor, but there's some complications.
Life-threatening.
It sounds like he's going to either lose his wife, his child, his unborn child, or both. So this is why I say this. While they touched on subjects like this in the past, just I think as being a person that contemplates these things,
Sure.
this sort of changed the trajectory of maybe what he found important and had to write songs. He was like, this is what was coming out because this is all I could do. There's nothing I could do except write about it because he thinks his wife's going to die and be left with nothing. His kid's going to die. That's going to ruin their life. Or both, just all terrible outcomes. The album name Low Teens comes from the weather of that winter. He said it was always in the low teens, and I was just going to the hospital over and over again, trying to figure out what's going on with my wife. So all of these songs are sort of in that, in that mindset of either dealing with the best outcome, worst outcome, just hypotheticals, and what all that means to a human. So I think that's interesting. I think there are albums like this where I don't know, because it changed. Like I said, it changes what the band is about in some way. And it's like they put out their best material, but it's based off this like tragic thing that happened. Yeah, and it's interesting.
Well, often tragedy breeds the best art.
Yeah, it's sad. And there are bands that sing about that, and we'll get to that later. But it's also, I think, hopeful, the songs a little bit, like this one.
Yeah, I think so.
Though it may haunt us and break our hearts, death cannot tear us apart. I think it's they always, for the most part, I feel like start their albums out with a sort of anthemic, like not a necessarily call and response, but like pretty simple, you know,
Heaven's been raided, created,
clear,
heaven's been raided.
Clear statements that are kind of like group sing along. When they do this, everyone at the show lose their mind. You know, they come out and do this and everything's broken already. Things are broken, guitars are broken, the show just started, show's ruined. Stuff like that. So
I'm sorry, you got to go home. All of our guitars are broken.
But I think this is also a clear indication for me that shows his songwriting ability, and maybe for people that don't listen to heavy music like this as much, maybe shows a side that people don't think about, like you said, where it kind of people don't think about the lyrics, or it's just about like, oh, it's loud and fast or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think he's saying important things, and also he's putting a lot of effort into the lyrics. So
no, I think he's a great lyricist.
I don't know, you like this song? I mean, do you like this album?
No. But I like the lyrics. There's a couple songs I like.
But you get why people might like it?
No. But I understand that people do. But that's the thing. It's not for me. I've tried it. I'll try it again. I'll try it as many times as you bring it. I don't want you to be dissuaded from bringing this because I know.
Well, there's going to get. I think this is a good. I feel like this is a very heavy album where you can kind of understand the sentimentality behind it.
Yeah, I like the lyricism. I think the lyrics transcend the. It's not the heaviness of the music. It's not even the screaming. I find. And we'll get into it. I find a lot of the songs just kind of not good.
Wow.
Like the guitar parts aren't. There's nothing
that's
keeping me,
because that's what people like about like this intro.
This is the coolest part.
Excited to get in there. They are a riff. I'd say a riff-based band,
and their riffs suck to me.
Really?
None of these riffs. None of them stuck in my head. I don't, but that's me. I think this is a different, obviously it's a different type of music than what I normally listen to. And I think I understand people like it for a different reason than why I like music.
Yeah, I think that's the crux of where we find our Venn diagrams diverging, right?
Yeah.
Because let me formulate just how I'm going to smash your face. No, I mean, I understand why people don't like this stuff. And I can see through that of like, why do I like this? Why wouldn't people like this? Because there's stuff you could bring me where I'm like, well, I don't like this kind of whatever simple, catchy guitar part, or you know?
Right.
And I think a lot of it is the feeling of the music. I think a lot of, from what I understand, people like, there's two guitar players in this band that both have certain styles, and one of them is always bringing something like a very weird idea for, let's call it a riff. And then you've got someone that's doing sort of the lead part that is adding something to it that's different, that you just don't get in other music. That's like, it sounds weird. Sometimes it's like, this is barely working for me. Sometimes it feels like everything's going to fall apart. But like, then you go see them in concert, you go see a show, it's like, how are they even doing this, you know?
Yeah.
And then you go see them and it's like, they are like, this is the song and they know all these parts, and it's just, it kind of sounds like it's almost going to fall apart, just like,
yeah.
And I think that adds to the emotion of songs like this, where it's just like, it feels like it's on the verge of just, I don't know, blowing up or something. But it's a controlled chaos, and I find that interesting.
Yeah. I think, yeah, there are a lot of moments where it just doesn't even sound like they're playing the same song in a way. But I don't have the context of other, like a bunch of other metal bands that I can say, this is the cool way of doing it, versus these other guys who do that same thing, but their version is bad. To me,
it's all this. Well, you don't.
it's not all the same. I don't have the
Yeah.
I don't have the.
I kind of brought this one to me as someone I probably steeped. Not probably steeped very heavily into this. I was like, this is kind of seems like it toes the line a little bit more. It's a little
And
heavier,
it probably does.
but I understand what you're saying because I was like, it's not some weird like math rock thing where it's like, why are they doing this? Where it's like, are they just trying to show off or what? But
Right.
this to me is not the heaviest thing, and I just thought, but I love his lyrics with this. Like, why do you think they choose this type of music to sing this over? You know?
Yeah.
There are some bands where I feel like the lyrics don't call for things. Like they're just trying to be like, what's the heaviest sound we can make? And if you try to dissect it, I know it's like dissecting a joke or something and being boring, but that's what we're doing. We're talking about
That's the show, folks.
If you hate boring stuff, don't listen to this.
Yeah.
But if you break it down and you go, why are they doing this? And what is the meaning? Like, what is heavy music? Why even is that? That's when I'm like, I don't know why that's considered heavy or whatever. You know, it's just like, I guess it's loud, but you can also listen to like rock music loud.
Yeah, you can crank the volume on anything.
So I'm just like, what? And I listen to this album usually the loudest I can.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think this more than some other bands might match the emotion of what they're saying a little better. I don't know.
I can see that. I mean, it's a raw nerve sort of. I mean, his voice sounds like it's on the verge of giving out.
It's very cathartic, I think. And when I listen to this,
I can see that. And I can see at a live show and everyone's kind of joining in on the rage and also the catharsis of just like, I'm going to scream as loud as I can and punch each other and jump around and stuff. I get that more than I get like I would be more
just like listening to it in your car.
Yeah, I would be more inclined to go to a show and like that's at least a communal event where we're having fun together and we're screaming back and forth at each other. That makes sense to me more than putting it on for enjoyment.
I can see that. I think that is one of the things where I think people that don't go to those and they don't see that, you go like, yeah, but you have to see it live to like understand maybe the importance or just like everyone together. Shows like this also maybe surprisingly to people, but it's usually the nicest people you'll meet. Like when I've gone to shows for other bands of, I don't know, different genres and stuff, sometimes fans can be very like, I don't know, uppity or like they just are very sour about stuff and very, I don't know, but like when I go to hardcore shows like this, everyone's talking about it. They're like patting each other on the back. It's just a very positive experience. And once you go to that and see that, that's why when people go, oh, I wouldn't go to those shows. And it's like, I brought my little brother with me. Cause I was like, come to this, we'll have fun. You're like, you'll see it's cool. Or you go, I've gone with other people, but I think that's part of it for me. Yeah. But I also will still play it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
sleep.
Yeah. You
maybe there's something deep inside of me that's just angry, but I don't find it like, you know, some people can find it annoying. Like you probably found some of it annoying. I don't, whatever that is in my head, I don't have that. Yeah. It's to me, it's not like it's actually calming to me, but it is like, there's something a little meditative about it and whatever. Yeah. But do you have anything else to say? Because I've got about this song.
No, I think that no, and I will say, lyrically, I love all of these songs.
You just wish they were.
There are moments where they have a good hook and like a good chorus, and I'm like, see, you can do it. Like they're not, but even then, it's like they're not great, and I'm like, I mean, but actually, maybe you can't. So that's probably why you do stick to the screaming stuff.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that's just one of your glitches. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know how else you would say this. I think it just fits so well. I think the other thing is with some of these bands, when you read the lyrics, you're like, there are things that people think about with songs where it's like, sometimes like, well, nothing rhymes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why do they have to? But also, I want them to.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, I think at a certain point, you need something.
But there are bands that will sing the stuff that's like indecipherable, and they're just like, they're just saying like a word and then another word, and there's nothing.
There's no rhyme. Literally no rhyme.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't even fit the part. It's just like
yeah.
So you go, okay. And people like that stuff, but I think that's what I like about this is like it is, to me, it is catchy. He's like fitting all of these things in, and when you look at what he's saying, there's a reason for all of it. Yeah. So that's this song. Should I read you what he said to AP about glitches?
Yeah.
I wrote what would eventually become the lyrics to Glitches after the terrorist attack in Paris, when it was revealed to me just how mentally unprepared I was to deal with tragedy of that caliber. Was that the Queens of the Stone Age thing? Apologies if it's not, but I think it was, right? Do you remember that? There was like, they were playing the show and then there was a terrorist attack in the venue.
Yeah.
I believe that's what he's talking about. I'm not going to sit here and look it up and be silent while
No.
We would never do that.
No.
But I believe it was about that. And he said, all of my training in transcendental meditation went out the window.
Oh.
I was scared and uncertain and angry. The system of peace and patience I thought I had established disappeared, and what remained was my was my old ugly self. I learned quickly that nothing can prepare you for an anomaly, for a glitch. So just interesting. I just like when bands have like each song feels like it was made for a reason, not just like, hey, we had 3 weeks in the studio, we had to bang a couple out. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No, he's writing them with purpose. Snuffed out the star with celestial wind, ended a cycle that started again. I stopped going out, they kept going in. Was I saving my soul or saving my skin? Day trip around sacred terrain. My transformation went from mangled to tame. I don't feel different, but I don't feel the same. I'm afloat with an ear to the ground. It just like flows so well.
Eagles of Death Metal concert.
That's it. Excuse me. Not
yeah.
Queens of the Stone Age. He's in that band. The guy from Queens of the Stone Age is in Eagles of Death Metal. I just want people to know I'm not crazy for what I said. There's a connection there with that Holmes man. That little redheaded devil.
Hey, no levels, still the same old redheaded devils.
And then, of course, at the end, he's screaming, "No need to panic," but he's screaming it.
See, that's where I said,
okay, but he.
Oh, no, I like this song's lyrics.
Yeah, not my favorite musically on the album. I think it goes quick, it flows nice, but I think there's catchier stuff here. Good. I don't know, second song, a nice quick little banger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got anything to say about that?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay, that's good. Next up. Well, when you put this episode online, when you're coding our Spotify, do you use C++?
I use Love Will Get You Killed.
Jeez.
Oh, that's how it's supposed to be played. Get the tambourine out, damn it. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Who's that? All right. This one clearly is about his wife in the ICU.
Love will get you killed.
But it's a very... Lyrics, I think, are great on this one. Mm-hmm. Just about the heart, like the machines in the room.
Yeah.
Just trying to... A lot of this, I think, is about the helplessness of these situations where you try to put meaning in things and it's just a machine.
Yeah.
You're trying to, like, what do I need to give you to make her heart, like, to make them healthy again? It doesn't matter. You're talking to nothing. You're talking to a machine that it doesn't care. It's cold. And then we go back to if it's a false alarm, like, then he's kind of taking it back. Like, I'll give you anything. But if this is like, if this was just a fluke,
right?
Then forget about that.
Yeah,
I'll eat crow. It don't taste so bad.
Yeah.
I also like the end of this when everybody gets a universe. They do what they want.
Yeah, that's cool.
I tore mine apart. It's a great little breakdown at the end there. I think they also have these breakdown sections that work in the songs where you've got bands that are doing. This is me just trying to be like, they're actually good. But like bands that will put like, we got to have a heavy breakdown in the song.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything. When the music is heavy and stuff, I still want the meaning to be there. Cause I think the reason they do that and you're dropping the music out or it's going to halftime, mm-hmm. It's supposed to make you feel that part of that song. Mm-hmm. Like I tore my universe apart. Like it's a heavy statement to make even heavier in the song when they get to that part.
Yeah.
And that's not like a traditional just like break, stop, whatever. But it's like it gets a little heavier and breaky there. Mm-hmm. I like all that stuff. I think it's a good song. What do you think? You like the lyrics? You don't like the song?
I like the lyrics. I like this song.
He also...
I think this one is a little more riffier. I can get behind this a little more.
You mentioned, is it his voice? He sings a little cleaner on this song.
Yeah, it feels a little more musical, I guess.
So as I think
melodious. I'm a guy. I like a melody.
Yeah,
and I know that's not the project in a metal song.
But that's for a different band.
That's not what I'm listening to. That's what I mean. I understand people like this.
Just not this person.
Just not this one guy. And I know that makes me not cool.
No, I think it's good.
I want to like it. I don't want to be the guy that likes pop
also
music.
Shit. Maybe this is shit.
It is to me.
Right. So I'm the uncool guy to you in this situation.
Aesthetically,
it would be cool if you liked it.
Yeah.
You could wear a shirt like this.
Yeah, people would be like...
My mom liked this shirt. She told me today.
Whoa.
She goes, I don't want to know what it says, but I like
that
it's symmetrical. I was like,
there you go.
I'm not going to tell you what it says. So this... but I love... That's why I just like that it's like... Sometimes there's also this idea that it's... The bands are... Like you said, it sounds like, well, this could be easier to play. And I don't think... they're any less talented than guitar players for bands for like power pop or whatever, or guys that are doing solos and stuff.
I don't think it's easier to play this music.
You just don't like what it sounds like.
I think it's harder to play this music.
And you're saying you don't have to do that. You're like,
it doesn't sound good.
That's what I mean.
to me.
That's what I mean.
It of course, yeah, it's impressive as hell what you guys are doing. It's just,
It doesn't sound good to you.
What impresses me about a song is when it should be interesting. I like good lyrics. I like a riff. I like impressive musicality, musicianship. But for me, it has to hook me. And not much here hooks me. As far as I think it's impressive if a songwriter can get a song stuck in your head. And it doesn't have to be a pop song that's scientifically engineered to be stuck in your head. That's not I like pop. I like some pop songs that are like that. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure everyone does. Even if you don't want to, you're still like, oh, God, that's still stuck in my head. You can't help it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying a band, a group with the same type of upbringing as the guys playing metal and stuff like that, but they just there's something there that they have an ability to tap in, especially when it's a consistent thing over a career of tapping into all of these phases of what I like in music, which is lyrically, spiritually, in the sense that I feel moved by the music. It is emotionally, maybe I should say, rather than spiritually. And musically, I have been thunderstruck, you might say, by the music in a way.
To quote one of your favorite bands.
One of my favorite bands. So to me, it's impressive what these guys do and what metal bands do. I've seen now the bands I've seen are 90% bad, but I've seen some good ones too, and it is impressive. Even the bad ones are impressive. You're like, wow, your fingers move really fast.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, there's a construction of a song that is impressive to me. And it doesn't.
Yeah.
Some of this just doesn't work for me on a song construction level.
Yeah. I'm not going to change what I'm bringing to the show. I feared this would happen when we started the show, and I feared that it would affect what I brought to the show.
Don't let it.
And
I want to be exposed to this.
It's not. And I think there's stuff you're bringing me that's easier for me to be like, yeah, this is catchy and I like it. But there's also stuff like
Pink Spiders,
where, or not even, maybe like Jukebox the Ghost, where I was like, yeah, this isn't doing it for me. This doesn't make me feel what this feels.
Sure.
And I know this is an acquired taste because most people I know don't listen to this stuff. And I know that I took a certain route somewhere in life, which will probably visit those albums.
Yep.
Where I was, what am I getting from this that I haven't heard before? And then I followed that path and started to say, well, what else is there? And you start to go, even if you could say they're in this world a little more mainstream, it's in this world.
Yeah.
And you start to go down that path and find these bands that other people aren't listening to, and it's doing something for you that other bands aren't. Right. We both talked about we love Switchfoot, but I can also put this on or some other stuff I'll probably bring that you are not going to care for if we get to them. But I don't know. This is the stuff when this album came out and I listened to it, I think I was going to see them and I was just like, they did it. There's some of the songs on here I was like, this is some of their best stuff. And I just loved it. This song's great. I think it's there's also something else that ties to this that I'll bring up later. So if you're thinking of turning off the episode,
do not. We have something that ties to this song.
But I will say with this song
coming up later
and the next song, because of the clean singing and stuff, he's always sort of sprinkled that in. And I think here is where you get the most of it. And on the next album, there are some wonderful tracks with just clean singing. He does one with the lead singer of Manchester Orchestra on the next album.
I saw that. I got excited to hear that.
Awesome. Whenever that guy appears on anyone else's song, he's always popping up. He's on Touche Amore songs and stuff.
He's great.
Beautiful voice.
Love him.
Love that band. So
we should listen to that.
Yeah, instead of this shit. So, but I believe during this, I don't know if it was exactly this album or the next album, but around this time, he was a very heavy smoker and heavy drinker. He quit smoking, and he said he tried to quit drinking, and he didn't like the person he was when he wasn't drinking. So
that is
that AU problem.
wrong.
So he started drinking again. Now, before the band broke up, he did get sober.
Yes, because his daughter and his new wife, there's a little wrinkle here where you listen to this album and you go, but they're not together anymore. But he was like, I can't travel with these bands that are drinking. Like it's very tempting, whatever. I don't have that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've never drank so heavily that you can't. Right. But I understand that that's probably something that's true to him, and of course
but why I bring this up is because I saw them do some of these songs when he was still, I think, doing those things or drinking and stuff. And when he got to the clean vocals, it was a little messy. Like, I mean, especially when you're doing this and you're not controlling your voice the whole time. Yeah. And you're on tour, like you're not going to be hitting those notes. Right. But the last time I saw them play, I was like, it was like the last song of the set, and he sounded incredible. And so it's like he's taking care of his voice, and it sounded better than ever. It's just a bummer than that. But it's like I like that he did this. I don't know if you looked up the Damn things. This was a side project he did.
With the Fall Out Boy boys.
Two Fall Out Boys, the guy from Anthrax.
Yes.
The first one is all right. The second one is it's not really for me. I feel like this is probably wrong, but it's sort of it's just like rock music. I don't want to say like Def Leppard because I don't know that much, but it's sort of just like rock music, and he's clean singing through most of it, and that sounds cool. It's just not my thing.
So I'd probably like that.
Yeah, probably. But it is cool to hear. Like I listened to it because I was like, love Fall Out Boy. Sure. It's cool to hear those two guys getting to play their instruments. Yeah. And it's cool that like Keith is playing with them and some guys from Anthrax, or I think like Deftones or something, like just a couple of guys that wanted to do some other stuff. So that's cool. And he sings clean on that and on some new stuff. But I like his voice when he does that stuff.
Real quick, by the way, did you have you been reading the Holy Roller, the Joe Troman, Andy Samberg, Rick Remender comic
I can't find it.
What?
I don't think they're carrying it down here.
Oh, really?
Where I live.
Whoa.
So I'm waiting for the trade. Yeah. Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah. I read something that Joe wrote.
I don't know how they're splitting up.
Who's writing it?
I don't get it. The main guy looks like Andy Samberg, I imagine. Maybe that's his contribution. Is he's like, yeah, you can use my face.
He can look like me.
Anyway,
I wanted to read it. They don't have it, so
that's weird.
I'll get the trade unless I missed it but now it's on like the 4th or 5th or something. So
just wait for the trade. It's all a racket anyway.
I'll wait for it. Maybe I'll have to wait. I don't know, 1-2 summers. You like that because of drums. Double bass belt.
Whoa.
Huh? No genius notes for this song.
I don't know what to think about it then.
Tell me this is good or bad.
Is that about looking at someone's butthole? Where the sun don't shine?
And we'll end it there.
Oh, sorry.
You looked at what the light shined on, not where it was shining from, didn't you? It's kind of like it's your,
Yeah.
It's like when someone puts a blindfold over your head and then they're like, on the count of 3, try to sit up.
Yeah.
And then like, whatever.
Then
A kid from Heavyweights has his pants down in front of you and you become a true brown noser.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this song?
This is a good one.
This is the one you like. So we're on opposite. We're just
I knew you didn't like this one as much.
just not as much.
Well, and because I saw too that they are influenced or are also considered Southern rock.
Yeah, they have a Southern, not, I don't know, twang, but like the guitar parts have a Southern feel to them.
Yeah.
And they're from the most northern you can get in the
Buffalo.
United States. But they have a very Southern, like, whatever that is.
Which I can imagine you despise. Not from them, but just generally.
Generally, I listen to a couple bands that have that sound. And it's like this, where it's like, I like what they're doing and I get it, but maybe too much of that is not my thing. Mm-hmm. There's a couple bands. There was one back that I think they're back now, but a band called Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, who was, they're from Texas. Or Florida, whatever. It was the original singer for Under Oath. He had this new band. It's very like country rock and country metal. And I listened to it for a while, and it's kind of like this heavier country music, kind of weird. Yeah, it's got that twang. It's not country music, but I can take it in doses.
Is it just it's the guitar tone? I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because otherwise, it's like
but it is weird that you can like.
Yeah, I can like when I saw they were described as metal, hardcore, Southern rock. I was like, eh.
If you
and then I heard this song, and I said, oh,
yeah.
It's because they're twanging on that guitar.
They're twanging on it. They've got some stuff like this, even on some older albums like The Big Dirty. It's very like, it just has like a Southern grittiness to it. And I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
It's not like they're eating king cake or whatever. gotta find that baby. So you like this. I figured maybe you would or maybe you wouldn't.
I like this more just because, well.
Yeah. But I like you looked at what the light shined on, not where it was shining from, didn't you? Mm-hmm. You looked at what you need only when you need to find it. Yeah, I did it too. Mm-hmm. There's just these little nuggets in there.
Yeah, I like our
buddy's just writing.
Yeah.
There is also a very maybe awkward episode of their TV show when they were in the studio writing the album and their friend is filming everything. And he's listening to the music, and Keith goes to another room. He goes and sits in a dark room and like listens and tries to come up with lyrics. And the guy kept coming in to bother him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Do you want me to finish this fucking album?" Like he's like, I can't do this with you in here." Like very like he's like not kidding anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is this in here? It's scary.
So the signs were there from the beginning.
Yeah. I think
everyone else is joking around, and he's trying to.
You have to be weird to like do that.
Well, someone's got to be serious.
Well, someone's over there going like,
he's like, okay, great. Let me try to
sing about my wife,
wax
my ailing
poetic.
wife over this.
Chuckaboo. But yeah, I mean, someone needs to. I'm on his side. Hearing that,
yeah,
I'm on his side. I think it was Jordan's fault.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
He only drinks like 2 beers. That's what I saw. It was like, we don't drink, and Jordan only drinks like 2, but that's just for the stage.
And it's like, well, he shouldn't.
He asked him not to. I know that's kind of...
It's just this brotherly love thing where they're like, God, can we just get a different guy in here? Just switch out one of them.
Well, then wasn't Keith was like...
I heard him saying...
I heard him saying they wanted to replace me.
It's such a weird thing to like...
And they're like, no, we didn't. We said we have to replace you because you don't show up. He's like, that's not what it sounded like.
It is the kind of...
You're not in the same room as us, Keith.
This is every band, though.
Yeah,
they just happen to like have to air their grievances for everyone.
Yeah. It's sad, really.
But every band is just filled with guys that don't like each other. And girls. Girls don't like each other, too.
It's true.
I'm not going to discriminate. So you like this one.
I like this one. I like the lyrics. I think maybe my favorite lyric from this song. And I knew I was alive because I used to want to die, but not anymore.
Yeah.
That's just kind of cool.
We clean the mistakes just to right mistakes. An old flame you can't blow out. You finally kind of picked it up. Now you got to put me down. I got to put me down. Ba-ba-dee-ba-dee. I like that. I like what you said.
Yep.
I like you got premonition. Talk to spirits. They approved. That just might mean you're lying or them spirits lied to you. You're either making this up or they're wrong. Nothing more is perfect. Yeah, but it's just these.
And what I like musically, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
This, I think, this is interesting to me more than the and the other guy's doing and then the drummer's doing his thing, and I can't even really hear a bass line on any of these songs.
But in this song you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the play
because everyone's playing in like
they're playing together like a band.
And it's all but in like the other songs,
everything
is so low
that
like the bass is sort of
it's muddy.
It's all just together.
Yeah.
What do you want me to play? Daddy-O?
Maybe right at the you looked at what the light shined on.
How'd I do that? Crazy.
That is more interesting than anything else on the album. Not literally, but the doo-doo-doo. You get all the elements of your metal.
Because it's still heavy.
Yeah, and then they do the.
I'm like learning. I'm like,
and that's cool.
But that's what I like about this band. They do stuff like this.
I could listen to an album full of this.
You know who else? Southern?
If there's one of this song and then 12 other songs of a guy whining and screaming, I don't want it.
Right.
If there's one song of a guy whining and screaming and 12 like this, I'll grab it.
You'll grab it.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say there's... Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to say. I think that's what also differentiates them from some of the other bands they would tour with and stuff. Whether opening for them or having being the headliner, is they kind of pull out these things like this where they're not afraid to do something that might be seen as maybe like cheesy, like a harmony or something.
Sure.
But it's just cool, and like they do it with conviction. They believe in it. And it's cool when it's like they'll pull out their cowbell to do something or something that's just like some weird thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, they pull out the tambourine a few times on this, and I said, well, that's cool. Because I don't imagine that happens a lot in metal.
No. And that's why I say it's like fun where they pull out those things and they know not to take it too seriously. Because that's where you start to get the people that are like, with the metal bands that are too serious. Yeah. And they're like, metal is life. And it's like, but you are just singing about fake Satan. You know?
Yeah.
That's why it's like, Ghost, hey, you're kind of having fun with it.
You're being silly about it.
And even though I can listen to that stuff, but some of those people are like, just,
it's
kind of like annoying. But I think they know how to have fun with it, even when they're singing about whatever, more serious topics. Yeah. You get that you're a band and you're having some fun.
It should be fun, shouldn't it?
It should be fun.
Yeah, I like this track. Two in a row here. 2 summers and that was 2 summers.
That was 2 summers.
I like C++.
Yeah,
and then 2 summers. I like these songs. I don't hate the other stuff. It's just I know it's not for me.
But compared to the other stuff, you like those probably an awful lot.
Oh, good. Back to this.
I love this.
You can turn her up a little.
Well, I don't want to make people fall off there. I already listened to it as loud as I could go on the way here. Swerving all over.
Explosion from the bottom of a well. Zero
step on that pedal.
We broke our promises. We had such promise. Until we broke our promises. We had such promise.
So here we go. I like the last song leading into this, where the beginning of it is very intense. Maybe one of the louder yells, I don't know, screams on the album.
Yeah.
Explosion from the bottom. After that, like into explosion from the bottom of the well. It kind of plays nicely together, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I should also point out, I love this part. The other thing is we're talking a lot about the lyrics, but this is a band like this. Typically this album will come out and I'll just listen to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not reading the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like I'll get what I'm getting the first time through. And this, more than other bands, he's pretty legible, or whatever you want to call it. That works, right? His voice is legible.
Yeah. You can understand.
I can understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
More so than other bands, but like just even without listening to the lyrics of the song or listening to what he's saying exactly, just the sound of it is what I will kind of judge. Do I like this?
Sure.
And this song especially, I think, like, it's just cathartic, and that scream is kind of like melodic. And like even this, if I don't know what he's saying the first time through, it just sounds good to me. Like that. It's just cool. I just like
man,
how it
I just
sounds,
think
and
we
then I'll
got
get in
two
there.
different ideas of what cool is. And
Yeah.
that's just the trouble here, but that's part of the fun of the show.
That's why our band is probably going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be things I hate, things you hate, mixed together. And I was like,
So
but that was
no
cool.
one likes it.
I just like that's how I usually will go into these, is I'm just listening to it.
Sure.
And if it's not catching me that way, I'm probably not going to dig into the lyrics. With him, I care, and I've listened to them long enough to go, oh, I like looking into this.
Yeah.
And he is saying stuff that's important. Mm-hmm. But just the sound of it from the start, I don't, just because when we do this, we get into the lyrics right away.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's how a lot of people are listening to these bands right away.
Yeah,
You're listening
for
to
sure.
music
Yeah.
and doing other stuff. And then as you continue to listen to it, some of these lyrics, even maybe up to doing this, I was like, oh, I don't think I actually remember reading what
Sure.
he's saying here.
Yeah.
Or I thought it was something else. And sometimes it's better than what you thought, or sometimes you go, well, what I thought of is cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I thought you were saying something cooler than you are. But, yeah, just so I like the way this one sounds. Mm-hmm. But then we get into the lyrics, and very interesting lyrics as well.
Yeah. I see, again, for me, it was the opposite. I also listened to it the first few times.
And said,
And with no lyrics,
Yeah.
just because I mean, the same thing. I think that's probably how most people operate. Unless it is like, I don't know. I guess when I was a kid and I didn't have any other responsibilities, I would take my new CD into my room
out.
and put my little Walkman on and, yeah, take the booklet out and just listen from top to bottom, reading the lyrics. And I think, whatever. I don't do that now because, for one, it's just on my phone, and I put it on.
Yeah,
for the
you're
most
doing other
part.
stuff.
Or I can't just sit in my living room and have the giant pull-out poster of the vinyl.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Mm-mm. And I've got 6 kids to take care of.
But would you say for the most part, also the stuff you're listening to, and that I listen to a lot, is you can also tell what they're saying?
Yeah,
That's where this music just differs, is that
yeah.
it
But
can be unintelligible.
I will say, to your point, there was a lot of lyrics from the Pink Spiders that I didn't know, that I found out last week, that I was like, not as good. But
But is that just because you listened to it when you were younger and weren't thinking about?
no, because I listen to it like once a year probably. So it's just,
But you would just have it on.
to
and
me,
you
it's
listen-
like this for you is you put it on and are in that mode of that music. And some stuff for me, I think we listen for the same reason, which is to be. I was kind of trying to get to this point last week.
Sorry,
so
I must have fucking said something.
No. Just because I needed to explain to you that I'm why I'm not cool, and I like listening to pop rock, but I want that specific sort of vibe, so I'm just gonna throw that on.
I think that's our thing, right? Our vibes is different.
Yeah.
Because I will listen to stuff that's like I can't understand what they're saying sometimes, but it's the music of it's not even we talked about sort of like you watch a horror movie and sometimes you want that.
Yeah.
That was more of maybe the ghost thing or some stuff. And that's not exactly with this because I don't find this to be scary.
No, it's not.
But it's like it's bad.
No, I just mean I also don't think.
But it's not like. But some people be like it's heavy. But I'm like, but to me, it's not a negative. I don't have negative connotations with it. I think there are people that play heavy music that have lyrics that are negative.
Yeah.
And I can't really listen to that. But I also think there are people that just sing rock music that can be whatever, like bad or misogynistic, even where you're like, this something about this is negative. Mm-hmm. And I don't have that connotation with this stuff. Yeah. I just like that vibe and whatever that is. And it's just heavier stuff that I like. Yeah. So
that's cool.
I mean, take it or leave it.
So I listened to this without looking at the lyrics, and then I liked it more when I looked at the lyrics. Yeah. So there is that aspect of it as well.
But but there's some, I don't know what that is. Why do I love, I don't know, Reliant K? I mean, you know why I do, because you like them too. Yeah. But, it's like, why do what is, I guess, well, this is something that I came up with, but I think, I know it sounds stupid, but I think people contain multitudes.
Whoa. You thought of that?
That's stupid. It's just, maybe the lyrics made me think of that. Yeah. He says explosion from the bottom of a well, which kind of reminds me of like using the toilet. Let's see.
Which, after I'm done with it, contains multitudes. Thank you.
Chasing bended light. I went missing on the roads that wind through the corners of your eyes. That's cool.
That's cool.
Barbarians, guard yourself with laughter, numb the meaning with the word. No, guard yourself with laughter, numb the meaning. That's like a John Van Dusen lyric.
Yeah.
We tamper with a down machine, but no, it cannot work. We had such promise to. Why can't it be the year 2000? Now we know how I feel about people bringing years into songs, right?
In the year 2000.
I also don't feel like 2000 was that long ago.
In the year 2000. Well, at this point, it's 15 years ago for him, right?
Yeah, 15, 16 years ago.
So why can't it be the year 2000 when I was dumb enough to truly believe?
Why can't it be the year 2000 when having nothing meant everything? But how old would he be here? Probably, oh man, maybe 40 or something. So he's talking about like maybe the beginning of the band, you're 25. Yeah. So I get him, it's different to me, but
I feel like this song is all about that. Like, it was better when we were young.
And here's no one is taking my calls anymore. I can never get through.
Yeah,
another and it's sign. Like, maybe
I'm back with Jordan and the boys.
Well, he did say, I think he mentioned at some point, he's like, we should have broken up in 2012. But like, people like our band. We like doing this. Yeah. We had things to say still, we felt.
But stay together for the kids.
We were, but I think that is something that a lot of bands don't talk about. Like, you started a band when you're 20, right, with 5 other guys that like your kind of music or whatever, or that you like to drink with,
right.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you are going to know these people more than your own family. Yeah. You're living, especially a band like this, when it's like you're not on big buses separate from each other, right? You are living in a van with people, day in and day out. There's going to be problems, and you have to. That's why I like. As much as I don't listen to Metallica, I thought that documentary was cool. Yeah. Because you see the biggest band in the world, like, just dealing with being annoyed with, like, I don't like when Lars does this or whatever. It's just interesting to see.
Yeah. No, I love behind the music crap.
That's why I liked when you could see the in the studio stuff. Because you saw people disagreeing or coming up with ideas. and you see them doing the one solo part that like in the song you're like, that's that part.
Yeah.
And you just see them doing it live just on its own, and you see people agreeing on it or talking about it in that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need more of that.
Yeah.
I wish we still had DVD players.
I think too. Well, no, we don't need to get into that. Never mind.
Okay. But what is the song? I like this song.
I think, yeah, I like the song a lot. And that we used to talk to God with acid on our tongues. We were divine when we were drunk before the world put out the fire and fed us crumbs. But I think this is sort of him dealing with kind of his own mortality, but also the mortality of youth, the mortality of friendships, and sort of the nostalgia, the mortality of nostalgia in a way of like, yeah, there was a time when before my old skin again.
And this is leading into his newfound sobriety too.
Yeah.
Of the things that brought him spirituality or that he found important, which goes back to another song about the I won't be there for the hangover, but I'll come running to raise a glass. I think touching on that again of the wanting to be there for that part of it and not wanting to grow up, not deal with the negative aspects of those things. And coming to terms with that. I don't know, sounds to me like he's putting the work in, and maybe the other guys should apologize to him or
Jeez.
I don't know, become a professional wrestler. It was fun when he was talking about becoming a wrestler. He's like, I've had an assistant since I was like 25. Like he's like, I didn't know how to do like how to schedule things. He's like, it's just so weird that was my life. And
that is weird.
Now he's like, I don't have that. And you realize how much being in a band, how much life you've missed. And you go, sounds pretty cool to me.
It's crazy that I don't know. It's crazy that then he went to be a professional wrestler, which is also not a real life.
I know that's like, that's probably why it's like, well, he's huge.
I mean, yeah, but it's like,
yeah, well, like he becomes an accountant.
When around this time, I think a band that may come up, the early November, they went on hiatus, and I just remember as a kid being like, because one of them was going to become an electrician, and I read that on their website or whatever, and I was like, what? What do you? And this was after their kind of, they had a bigger hit and some radio play, and I felt like they were like big, getting big maybe. And you're gonna quit to become an electrician? And now looking back, I see some people just want a regular life.
Well, there's a band I listen to now called Cruelty, this hardcore band, and they did some albums with their original singer, and he's been out of the band for a while, and they're going to be recording stuff with their new singer. I think someone's taking over, whatever. But they basically said he left the band because it was getting too serious for him.
Yeah,
and they're from Japan, so they're like constantly in the U.S. and that's like a huge
that's even bigger than
they're like touring in the U.S. and stuff, and he is like, it's too much for me, which I like. It's mentally that's a huge thing, and like, I wanted to be in this band for fun. Yeah, now it's becoming everything. Like you have to start making income with that because you don't have time for other stuff.
Right.
So like, you do realize at some point, especially for these bands like Early November, which you can tell why you don't like this if you're talking about Early November. Like this band or Early November or this whatever Japanese hardcore band I just talked about, they're probably not making enough where it's like you have to be constantly touring to be making money, and then it's like that's your whole thing. And he probably just like, I like being in a band and I like music, but like I want a stable family life. So it's interesting how we grow old and we realize that thing, and then your band breaks up, and I guess you all start new bands and start from scratch when you're in your 40s. Yeah. Good luck.
Or become a wrestler.
Yeah. And probably be more successful doing that.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, anyway,
I didn't want to join your stupid cult.
I didn't.
Anyway. Did you have something to say?
No, I didn't ask.
He hates this song. You're free. Yeah, I am. I'm a potato. Hey, get up! Get up! Sit down! Hey! What's that? How's that twang? It's kind of southern. We can't keep listening to this because I'm going to listen to the whole thing. He gets to where he says, let's see where we are.
New close, new home, new job, new God, from faith to doubt. I'm hardwired to short out.
From Parts Unknown, which is their last album. From Parts Unknown to Streets Paved in Gold. This song is fun. I don't think there's that much going on here. I think I like songs about cults. So
you like
I was just watching the guy with the Raelian, French Raelian guy. He's like, "Je te take me on the plane, they take me to the spacecraft." So
and you were like, I'm joining a cult.
Got my hair, clean my hair from my song.
Because you like that.
Yeah.
You want to be a Raelian man.
It's a interesting concept to be a Raelian man. My name's Rael. I believe in Raelians. And all these French people believe him.
We do too.
We do too. And he's like, take off your clothes and examine your butthole. Watch this thing. He says that.
Oh my God, I gotta watch this.
He's like, we all took off our clothes and used handmills to examine our buttholes.
They're like, you mean where the light don't shine?
And you know what happened? More people joined. So
yeah, if you get to look at people's butts.
I like this because this is the
I like this.
It's what people want from the cult, sort of, even without saying it, or maybe it's someone being upfront about when you watch those things and you see these people, you're like, I want that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to be like Tom Cruise? Why wouldn't I want to feel?
Guy seems happy and awesome.
Say I'm free, and tell me I'm free, and I am.
Yeah.
Tell me that it's church. It's Christianity. Tell me I'm saved, so I can stop feeling guilty about these things.
Right.
And just tell me what to do. Cut off my hair, clean out my head, fill me with song. Willing to surrender to persist, empty stare and dumb shit-eating grin. Dumb shit-eating grin. And then the guy behind's like, do you think maybe we also listen for different things in songs? Because you're always finding that bass line and stuff like that. Do you think we're just listening to it differently?
What are you listening for?
Just, I don't know, vibes, man. I don't know, because sometimes you're like, I like this thing. And it's like, yeah, if you solo that out, that's an interesting part.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes I'm just taking, as I assume you probably do too, but I'm just taking it all at the same time for what it is.
Yeah. I mean, once you...
And then pulling out some things, but...
At first, that's, of course, how I listen. But then, I mean, this is also kind of homework. So I'm trying to listen.
Especially for you, I'm rocking out.
Well, yeah. I mean,
here we go again.
When it's your pick,
yeah.
You know, you've had nearly 10 years with this.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure, it's the same thing when you're listening to something new that I bring. You're listening for, especially if it's something that maybe you don't necessarily vibe with, you're listening for
there's got to be something in
stuff that you can say, no, buddy, I do like it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, more than that, I think it's just, certain parts sound cool. So I'm like, hey, I like that part.
All right.
After listening to only this for a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I like this song. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. I think it's, that's why I said earlier, I think this and a lot of other songs are kind of pointing to the more of an anti-religion, which is why I was confused when I saw someone getting mad at him for writing Christian songs. I was like, what?
He's not, and I've seen people being like, why this chorus on his new songs? And I'm like, these songs are good. And then like everyone's like, what are you talking about? And it's like, is it that they feel like there's some sort of Christian, who cares? And that stuff too is also annoying when it's like,
oh yeah, also, yeah.
I'm not listening to worship music just because it's bad, but like a guy having a different viewpoint of you is not a negative.
Yeah.
That's when it's annoying when people like we talked about this with Switchfoot and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Where it's not your point of view or maybe a point of view you hold anymore, but you can see the value in it, even just from a humanist point of view.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are still real things someone's singing about. Someone's singing about the spirituality of what does it mean if I saw a bright future with my wife and son or daughter or whatever, and now they're going to die in the hospital.
Right.
What does that mean? Like, why are we alive then? Like, to say like, well, you're getting too spiritual or something is just stupid. Yeah. To me.
No, I agree. To us.
But I also like this kind of punk song, Us. We are earbuds. And you are too if you're listening to this still. From parts unknown, streets to go, left on the rooftop, token in hand. I'm stuck here in neutral. I don't understand. Drink up, of course. Maybe a little Jonestown-y.
Yep.
Teach me to breathe. But I also don't know if it's a satirical view on religion. Maybe. Yeah. That might not be the best word, but he's also saying like, yeah, why not have that? Teach me to breathe. Don't let me think. Wipe out my past. Break me in half. Like, do what you need to do to make me feel better. I surrender to this thing. And he's saying, I'm joining a cult. It's going into it knowing what it is, not being tricked into, we thought we were doing this and people started calling us a cult and that's not what we are. It's like, that's what I want. Yeah. So cool, fast song, a nice little, fast little break here as we get to the middle of the album. We have to hurry up.
Yeah, go.
Well,
but no, I like this one.
Yeah, well, that's something that I'll have to It Remembers for later.
Okay, now I feel like I'm in the bayou.
Is this Willie Nelson?
Finally a song with a structure. Let's get to... Yeah. Let's just... to make that shirt.
You got like this.
All right, so
right.
surprise, Landon.
There's a real song on the album still. Boom, boom, ba-da-ding, boom, ba-da-dum,
As
ba-da-dum.
we exit the A side,
said
you get a little Uri come in.
We'll throw one on for the.
Hey Keith,
Can I please sing on your song?
which he's a big Every Time I Die fan. He has an Every Time I Die tattoo that Jordan drew. Jordan, big illustrator, drew one of their album covers.
Jordan.
Kind of a weird one to get as a tattoo, maybe, but just because would be hard to do. But it's like a big Every Time I Die tattoo. It's just surprising. The Panic at the Disco guy has
Because
that.
he's a little pop queen.
Because he gets it, though. He gets it. You're a little pop queen, and you just can't wrap your mind around it. And he's out there going like, testosterone boys and harlequin girls. Or whatever he does now where he's like, Los Angeles. We love Panic. It became one guy.
Took away the exclamation mark.
Brought it back. So what'd you think about this?
They took it away.
you
They did. Well, we brought it back, didn't we, folks?
Make Panic exclamation again. Make Panic exclamation again.
We brought it back. They said we couldn't. We brought it back.
Were you surprised when Little Fry came on?
No.
Okay.
I know all these people are friends and they like each other. It's not shy. It's like what?
It's just I don't care. I'm not surprised by anything. It's just this attitude.
I know that people like music that they don't make.
Isn't that weird? People think
Yeah, it's weird
like
that
you're
people
like a singer songwriter. You could never listen to oh shit. Bette Midler.
Big Crosby.
We're on the same page. So you like the song?
Yeah, it's cool.
This is the first Every Time I Die song without any screaming.
No screams on
Only
this one.
clean vocals on this song.
Yeah.
First song they've done that way. I don't know why that's such a people are like they're.
Is that people are mad about that?
I don't know if they're mad, but people see it as like
Selling out?
No.
Bad?
As a no, they see it as a. Say something. I'll think about it.
Well, actually, what I was going to say is, wasn't there a song in between here? Because I would listen to the full.
So you got the
deluxe. Yeah, and I was like, hey, this one should have been on the album.
You like that? Me too.
Nothing visible, ocean. What's it called?
Nothing visual.
Ocean Empty.
Visible. Ocean Empty.
I said this one kind of fucking rips.
Yeah, that's a great song. I like that they put them not just at the end. They like
cool.
sequence them where they felt they might fit. I don't know why they did that because they don't have any. You can't like buy that album. It's only like a digital version.
It's kind of weird.
I don't know why, because the album's not that long, and it's like, why don't I want more stuff from you guys?
Yeah.
Why not just put those on? It was like when Neighborhood came out, the Blink album, and they're like, you can get the deluxe one that has like 3 more songs sprinkled in and like an intro. It's like, just have that be the album.
Yeah.
Why are you putting them out at the same time?
Right. Or even the new
$2?
Blink.
So weird. Yeah, they're like the day after it comes out, they're like, here's 2 more songs and you can get the album for $5.
Right.
Just put them on there.
And now my big CD,
Yeah,
my big wax cylinder doesn't have it on there.
now it's worthless.
Now I don't have 2 extra. Screw you, man.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
anyway.
we can touch on those.
Yeah, maybe
briefly
we'll
at the end if you want.
Absolutely. Anyway, I like this song. So you're saying
They see it as a
too much of a departure? They see it as
it's a positive, I guess.
They see it as a cool thing.
No, but it's seen as a.
I know you're trying to say a cool thing.
Yeah.
They see it as a
Maybe depart, or like they see it as stepping out of their bound, like they're trying something out that's like brave or something. You know, like
Yeah.
oh, this heavy band is doing this cleans, and it's. I don't know why people have that idea. Like you're saying, like, oh, they do this type of music so they can't just have a song that doesn't have screaming. Mm-hmm. Like that's not their thing. Well, it is because it's the same guys in the band and they're doing this song and it's good. So people do see it as like, oh, I don't know. It's just, and if I ever think of the word, it's going to be awesome.
I hope you do by the end of the episode.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They see it as like,
it's an anomaly.
Yeah. But it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I think other bands do it, and depending on the effect, it could be good, it could be bad, whatever. But to just be like, oh, they're doing this, and it's like the fact that I know that people were saying like it's the first song he's never screamed in, like that was a thing,
right?
That was a point to be made about that song.
Yeah, that's annoying.
But I think it came out as a single because they did a music video, I think, with Brendan.
Sure,
great singer. I like that they've had him on a song. I mentioned Andy from Manchester Orchestra. Mm-hmm. They've had Dallas Green, who's in Alexis on Fire, so it's not too far out of his wheelhouse, but like his singing, it's a very clean singer-songwriter guy. They've had Brian from the Gaslight Anthem, which is an interesting like combo between those two bands. So they always, I think, bring in when they want to have that on a song, they bring in someone interesting that brings it to a new height, and he can like keep up with him. It's not like they're bringing in some guy and he's like, God, you sound like shit next to him. Like they're singing the chorus together near the end there, the whatever's going on at the end, and it sounds cool. Yeah,
I think it sounds good.
Great song on the album.
Yeah, and I think Brendan Urie is a great singer.
Yeah, I think he's great. Some of those Panic albums are awesome.
Yeah, I love a couple of them.
Yep.
But in all fairness, I haven't listened to any of the recent stuff. So they could all be good. I just know
their new stuff was super poppy, where it was just him.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about his final one, but the ones before that are straight up just like pop albums are cool. Yeah. There's some songs that's just like, it's about Las Vegas or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. But they sound cool. Yeah. He's a great singer.
Yeah. I like the guy. So it's cool that he shows up here. I like this song. Oh, hold on. Let me go back to the lyrics. I want Oblivion all the time is just cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I want Oblivion all the time. I'm the son of the eternal shine.
Here's what I always loved about this song.
You always love this. Yeah. You always say this.
I can't stand what I've become. I'm shivering to spite the sun. Great. Put that on a shirt. We come together and we're overwhelmed by the loneliness. But just that.
I'm shivering I can't stand what I've become. I'm shivering despite the sun. Earbuds.
Well, not a shirt for us. Just a shirt like at Ray Gun. Where it's just block text.
With a random word highlighted.
Yeah, and people think it's a joke.
Yeah.
But they're like, dang, that makes me actually think.
Like Sprite. I love Sprite. Put that on a shirt every time I die.
Come on.
You know when bands do shirts with lyrics on it and you're kind of like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks cool, but why'd you put that bad lyric on there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You think that's good? Okay. Put that on there.
I like that.
So I want Oblivion all the time. Burn slow, there's no rush. You're right, always right. I thought I'd settled my debts that night on the ride home, but I've still got hell to pay. He's like cruising out of the desert. Dusty's just like out of the frying pan into the fire. What's the Vern?
Holy Lord.
My God.
You know what he does?
What?
Are you done?
Yeah.
He puts the blank to the metal.
Yes. Whoa.
Hey.
All of life begins luck. What becomes of all creation if the smallest prayer is finally answered no? The greatest of the floods. There's a vacuum where the brightest future was. I better warm up my gun.
Jump on stage, head goes right through the bass drum.
His pedal is just hitting your forehead.
God. That's not how you start the B-side of an album, I don't know what is.
See, this is interesting.
We can't listen to the whole thing. Let's go to the end here. Oh. Nope. Landon. What a crazy and like the heaviest ending to the song.
Yeah.
Where he's saying, untimely ripped into this world, I was born again as a girl. If you don't know what he is singing about, and this song is like crazy, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But that's where I'm like, it deserves the intensity behind it. Of like his daughter finally being born, and him subsequently being born again through this kid.
Right.
And just repeating that over and over at the end of the song. Like, it's not a lyric, I think, that you would hear from most metal bands doing something like this.
Yeah.
It's just it's very unique and very interesting to put that into the song that way.
Yeah.
I think this whole song is, top 2 or 3 on the album for me.
Yeah.
It's just so heavy through I like the genius.com. This show is brought to you by genius.com. Unreviewed annotation. I think this song is about how Keith was ready to commit suicide if things took a turn for the worse with his wife and child. Yeah, you think? Just like, why don't you give us a little more? But it's kind of about that, but it's more just about the hopelessness of the situation.
Yeah, I don't actually think it is. I know he's saying,
I better warm up my gun.
I better warm up my gun. And
I don't think that's...
Death is white,
Yeah.
and everything else is black. And it's the purest drugs because it's everything it wants. Death seems better than all of this.
Well, going back to the second song on the album, on Glitches, I believe, he's talking to his wife who's like unconscious and saying, dying isn't so bad.
Right.
It's talking about that, like, it's not the worst thing that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying that to his wife, and that's why he is saying, but if this was a fluke, I take back what I said. Like, don't follow the light. He's saying, like, I wouldn't hold it against you if you gave up, or that sort of mentality of letting someone know it's okay to go, and then saying, but by the way, don't do that.
Yeah.
If you don't have to. I think he's sort of going back to that where it's like talking about death that way, but then on the other side of it, what becomes of all creation if the smallest prayer is firmly answered no?
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Put that on a shirt too.
Shirt. Or there's a vacuum where the brightest future was, Hoover. And it's like the sun, it's just a bright vacuum. There's a vacuum where the brightest future was. That's, I think, the synopsis of the whole album there, of looking at this like the bleakest future you can imagine. But that's when, like, someone's saying he's not singing about Christianity or something. Like, he is, what becomes of all this stuff if you pray and it's answered no? Like, what if he is praying at this point, he's saying it.
Yeah.
And if this happens, that means no. And then he's saying, well, what is creation? And like, he is saying, then God probably doesn't exist. So I think he is believing in it right now.
Yeah.
Or he's in between. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be someone trying whatever they can.
Yeah, I mean,
to like make the situation
in the most
better.
desperate time of his life. Yeah, I think,
First, I need to save the life of God so that God can come and save me from myself.
Yeah.
If I have to walk alone, I'm giving up. I can't stay here knowing love is not enough.
Yeah. I mean, that to me is the biggest sort of like,
Yeah.
I guess I believe in God now.
Yeah.
Because I literally can't fathom doing this alone.
I can't stay here knowing love is not enough. Just to love someone is not enough to get them to stay. Like, why am I not afforded that
Right.
as a person that you created? Mm-hmm. This is where you probably also see the anti-religion or just not, or like the questions everyone has with these things, like that probably lead them away from those things too, because it just doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. But like, why would this be the case? Why would you do this to someone if you are there? Mm-hmm. And I think, though, through his daughter being born and what happened with his ex-wife, mm-hmm. he was sort of brought to spiritual, like my prayers were answered. This thing that they were telling me was going to happen didn't happen. And he's like, because of what I was thinking and my songwriting, like I think he has said, you don't know what it's like when you're not in that situation. Like there's no way for me to describe this to you or probably his bandmates or whatever. But like, mm-hmm. he's like, you don't understand what it feels like to have these thoughts and feel like you are some way helping the situation
right
by doing that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting thing. It's a crazy thing to write about and have it be awesome.
Yeah. Well, it is because you can read, first I need to save the life of God so that God can come and save me from myself. If I have to walk alone, I'm giving up.
He's saying it again for the people in the back.
I can't stay here knowing love is not enough. Well, because when I was listening to it before, I was taking this as, if I have to walk alone, I'm giving up. I can't stay here knowing love is not enough. The sort of That's
literally what he said.
I was hearing it more as the anti-religion
mm-hmm.
sort of thing. But now, I guess for some reason, I'm reading it now as, I need to save the life of God so that God can come and save me from I'm reading it as, if I have to walk alone, I'm giving up.
Yeah.
But I don't have to walk alone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Because I've pleaded with a God.
Yeah.
And if
because I think I was taking it the way that it's like, if they die, if I have to walk alone, I'm mm-hmm. giving up. I think there is that.
I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah. So that guy's right. He's unaliving.
Uh-huh.
But it is also the idea, if I have to walk alone without some sort of spiritual guidance.
Yeah.
Because I can't stay here. Basically meaning in a world where God doesn't exist, there's no such thing. We have to assume as soulmates,
right?
Whatever,
twin
flames, universe. I mean, that does exist.
Yeah,
but just they don't have much to stand on. But that doesn't exist. And he's like, I can't stay here knowing love is not enough. That's almost not real.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do I feel this way about this other person? There's something there.
It's all very interesting. I like the song a lot. And then finally, the untimely ripped into this world. I was born again as a girl. This lyric alone mm-hmm. would melt the minds of conservatives.
Yes, this is like libtard center.
I mean, because if you don't know what he's talking about, right. And I don't know, I'm sure they probably are fine with that stuff. I'm sure they're liberal people, because most cool, smart people are. But just the first time I heard that, I was like, this made someone mad.
But that's why I think, that's why it's like, it is one of those things where it's like, well, this is so unusual for a band to do, because most people that are going to hear your band, maybe if they're listening to this song that's like just on the album and people might know the situation, at least 50% of people that are listening to this aren't going to have that.
Yeah.
They're going to know something's going on with the rest of the album, but like untimely ripped into this world, I was born again as a girl. For him to basically say, I don't care what people make of this. Like, I don't care if you have the context. This is the truth to me.
Yeah.
And then I've seen like when they play this live, it's crazy. And to have everyone screaming that back, that like, it's such a personal thing for that person.
Yeah.
Some songs where it's like people can sing about specific things and it's up to other people to then, you know, understand the importance of it or put their own meaning to it. But like this is literally about his daughter being born, but people love it and everyone's screaming along with him. It's awesome, but it's just such a interesting lyric. Like the first time I heard the album, I'm like, what is this? Because you just don't get that, like almost, I don't know, vulnerability too. The idea that like how beautiful it is your child being born when you're singing.
Yeah. Well, and
all
like,
your songs are so intense.
And such a perceived sort of dark, like heavy, brutal almost scene. Now, of course, you go there and everyone's nice and whatever.
But there is like
the outward appearance of it is like
manly. Everyone's 6.5 feet tall and like
they're screaming.
These huge, everyone is. It's just I don't know, this like very testosterone heavy thing that people see, and it's someone being very vulnerable, and everyone's digging it.
Yeah.
Going, hey, 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 hey. And he's like, that's not the song.
I could also see a person tweet this at like Ted Cruz on Christmas.
Yeah.
And be like, got him.
Yeah. And then Ted Cruz like sends some father-daughter born gift back. And he's like, sorry, that was a mistake. And you know it wasn't. Anyways.
It's kind of like,
let's see here.
Oh, you're born again?
Yeah.
Isn't that like... No, it's just interesting. You're okay with people being born again, but you're not okay with people being born again. Just as the person they feel like they are.
That's interesting. I think we can... Well, he is...
Put that on a shirt.
I don't know if it was this, but there was another thing, I think maybe with some of the political stuff, where he was like, if you've listened to our band this long and you don't know what we stand for, he's like, that's on you. Because he said something...
All these bands are like that.
He said something about Trump. Like, he was just very straight up like, this is a horrible... Whatever.
Oh.
And there's a song on there...
This is my favorite guy.
This is... Because he has a song on the new album that I believe is sort of talking about it's about police brutality and stuff, and like kids, like black kids being killed by police, and how that's like the hope of our nation is in those kids, and they've been killed, or what. And like people are like, how could you... I think it was something about that, and he's like, if you don't know that about us, he's like, then F you. Like, I don't care if you're a fan, like, because they're like, I'm not a fan anymore. And he's like, I don't care.
Good.
We don't want you at our shows. Like, we don't want your money.
Yeah.
Just I like when bands straight up say, like, we don't want your money.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care. Because there are bands that are worried about we have to be apolitical. And sometimes that is helpful for them.
Sounds like the other 4 guys weren't.
Yeah, it sounds like they were like, hey, man, cool it.
That's my money.
We're Trumpsters. But... when they're like, we don't want you at our shows. That's not what, like, that's cool. You should stand up for that. And I like that when guys are like, we love Trump. We don't want you at our shows if you're Bidenomics. Okay. And then they point at the gas numbers and they're like, he did that.
Yeah.
Biden did that. And you're like, 250.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Kind of cheap.
Anyway.
And he rigged the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. That's what he said.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh. But Joey, the coin has a say. The coin has a say.
Crap.
Look, Baccarat.
Go ahead. Let me go back to the chorus. Our first night in town. Their first album was called Last Night in Town.
Whoa.
He's kind of he likes referencing.
He likes a little callback.
Winking at you from afar.
The Every Time I Die verse.
What you thinking about this song?
I had a question. How do you think they how do you think they decide what to sing and what not to sing? Like when he just sings.
You're an idiot. What do you mean? Oh, you mean like when he scream?
Yeah, scream versus sing.
I wonder that about basically every band I listen to.
Yeah.
And I think it just fits. I think it's whatever you feel right about. That's the only way I can figure it out.
Yeah.
It's what feels right. And I don't know what that is. You're just jamming with the boys. I don't know. Isn't that just music though? Like why does anything sound the way it does? You know?
I guess. I was just curious if you had any insights into.
I don't know. I think there are some bands that do it where whatever the screaming and the clean singing, it could be interchangeable. It's like they're both kind of singing about the same stuff, and it's like screamo stuff. Where if you listen to those early bands where they were trading off between two singers, and it's like, why is one guy doing that stuff other than he can't sing? Maybe and then the other guy has a good voice and he can do the pretty stuff. Why is that?
Yeah.
And I don't know. With this band, I'd like to say, well, it's what calls for it, which is how some bands are.
Yeah.
Where they pull it out a little. It's mainly singing, and they pull it out when they feel like they need it, which is cool. But for a song like this, I can't really say that because it doesn't seem like there's a big delineation between why he's doing one and not the other.
Yeah, it was just curious to me because it's not like really a melody that he's singing.
No.
He's kind of singing one note, which could easily have been screamed.
Right. But then he's going, I'm standing in the way again.
But he's not really.
Road. But then he's also singing through, but to an amateur set of eyes, man, like. I just love this drummer. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's a good drummer.
All these songs are great. He's banging them out.
Good drummer.
God, I just love that. So I just changed the subject. Yeah, I don't know why. All I know is it sounds nice to me.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Because why scream any of it? That's the other thing.
Exactly my question.
I don't know.
Because my theory is this. I think finding a melody is hard. And I think this is a perfect song to show that they're not concerned with finding a melody.
Because
he could just as easily scream, I'm standing in the way again, I can't see the road ahead, and it would To me, it would sound basically the same.
Hold on. It's not there's no melody to it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So you think they're taking the easy road out? They're like, you don't have to find a melody.
It's not the easy road. It's just they're not concerned with that.
I think to me it's like, here's where his voice sounds good doing this, because the music is not as, I don't know, intense behind him during that. Mm-hmm. And going from I'm standing in the way again, I can't see the road ahead, then he dives back into don't take it back, you're all that I have, which is then when it becomes heavy again, which puts the emphasis is on the end of that little stanza or whatever. Yeah. More than the lead up to it. I think. Yeah. I also don't know.
I agree. I would like that more. Mm-hmm. I think then.
More back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay.
To me.
Let's do this. Cool.
Quiet. You know what I'm talking about?
So that's cool.
You know what I'm talking about?
I remember we
You
were...
know what I'm talking about?
You know that character?
Yeah.
From Comedy Bang.
You know what I'm talking about? That radio.
Yeah.
God, I missed that.
A faith healer without the plant.
Just reminded me of that.
Oh, God. You know what?
I'm not even mad about that.
I remember we were filming a music video for someone who shan't be named. He had his little acoustic guitar. We were out with a million bugs.
Sure.
And he eventually didn't want us to put the video out, which is fine. Not our fault.
No.
Just didn't want people to hear the song. But he said, we were talking about Every Time I Die, he and I. And this was the new song that had just come out. I remember that specifically because he goes, have you listened to The Coin Has a Say? And we talked about it. And he's like, there's that line at the end about Metallica. It's just awesome. I was like, yeah. It's just funny that it's like such a specific reference at the end of a song that out of all the songs on this album, I feel like is pretty general in its sentiment. Mm-hmm. But it is a funny, I can't go back to what I was, Metallica without the drugs, which is like we were talking about, the albums that they came out with after that documentary. I think people don't like.
Yeah.
A faith healer without the plant, there's no home for a hollow man. Just a cool little breakdown at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if this album sort of has...
Do you like the Metallica reference?
I don't mind it. I don't like it. Okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I like this band enough where it's like a funny thing at the end, but it's just too specific to just reference another band.
Yeah.
That's at the very end, like in the breakdown.
It just hit my ear so wrong. Like Metallica?
Yeah.
What the hell are you bringing them into this?
I've listened to the album enough where it just is part of the song.
Me too now.
It's not...
it's just a weird one.
It always sticks out. It's always going to stick out when he says it.
It's funny that...
And I also have to think about it. I'm like, I can't go back to what I was, Metallica without the drugs, which would be... That's the opposite for them.
Right.
Like Metallica without the drugs is
bad.
After. And it's like, it's bad, but it came after them being on drugs. But he's saying, I can't go back to what I was.
Right.
He's like, I can't go back to being Metallica without drugs, even though it's flipped for them.
I don't fully understand it. To me, the sentiment is, I can't go back to what I was, which is what
But I think he just means like sucky.
Yeah.
I can't go back to being lame.
Gotcha.
Which is what they are without drugs.
Yeah.
But that's what he is with No, that's
No.
what they are with drugs, and that's what he is without them. That's what I mean. I got to do some mental gymnastics.
It just brings up a whole other thing
Right.
that you don't need to
at the very end.
Yeah.
So that's
It's funny that guy picked that out as his favorite lyric.
yeah.
Because it's
Maybe not favorite, but he did like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, funny. But I also don't listen to them. So maybe if I was like,
That's
love
true.
Metallica, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah, that's
he said what we were all thinking.
That's true.
+1 internet. So this was, I think, one of the first singles, but not like I said, not that the album has, I don't know, it has a theme, but there are songs like Cult, which I don't think necessarily fit that.
Yeah.
I feel like this one also comes at a weird time. Like it sounds like it should maybe be sooner in the album because there's all this other stuff like Petal is so heavy. Like there's these things that hit so hard on the subject of the album.
Yeah.
Where then it goes to this one. And maybe it's just because I heard it early on. And so it was like the first song I heard from the album or whatever. It was like Glitches and this one came out. Mm-hmm. But I'm always just like, I feel like this one should be earlier and kind of get it out of the way early because it doesn't mix with the other stuff. But I don't know. Maybe you don't care because they all kind of sound like just dumb shit to you.
They don't sound like dumb shiz. They just sound the same.
If you're going to drink a cuppa at 10:30, 11:30 at night, don't think you're going to get out unscathed. You're going to have to take a pisser.
I do like when he says so much self-love, so much hate, fuck these people, fuck this place.
Yeah.
That feels nice and cathartic. I don't even care what it's about.
Yeah.
When he says that, I say, I'd like to scream that.
And it is so much self-love, so much hate. Fuck these, and it's both, because it is both.
Yeah.
Fuck these people, fuck this place is self-love through hatred of the outside.
Yeah.
It's simple, and you go, God, I wish people would listen to this guy singing, but I guess he's a crazy, insane man. To an amateur set of eyes, me and the Lord look a lot alike. I might even have a brilliant shine and the strength to make it right. So again, talking about God.
Guy's obsessed.
Just crazy to do that. So we're almost done here. But I think this is the last time that he talks about any sort of religion. So anyway, here's Religion of Speed.
Why do you keep bringing up religion? Guy can't stop talking about it.
God can't stop.
I like that we have a little different sound for once.
God, I love that.
I can't continue on without a sign. One wing to hold the weight of only 1/3 of an eye. The vice I'm leading into has been thrown. When all the meat is stripped away, I'm chewing on the bone. I'm condemned until the moment I forget that I haven't learned a goddamn thing yet. My soul is sticking out like I'm sailing through the shell. You can wait until the rapture. I will hightail it to hell. Water everywhere, but no water fit to drink. I've got endless proof and I don't know what to think.
Here we go.
Leave my time, not a minute left to spare. Kill it to fuel, I can't get it.
Oh, here we go.
And all I am is a skull that says the name I had in the years that I had been.
Head to our merch store.
The quiet dance and the measured steps won't echo like the street crying did. Never the anger you drive will be frozen the stake. Choke down all the prey in your path before you become the prey. No one likes a company man. Nothing but a snake. Nothing but a snake. Look at my war. It's the prettiest thing alive.
All right. This is like 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
Which, let me read what old Keith himself had to say. Religion of Speed is the longest song we've ever done. I also just want to say that I know that everything that happened with my wife and Susanna is like the story, but there's so much music. It's the best music the guys have ever written, and I don't want that to get lost. These guys were writing things they've never done before, tapping into some source they've never tapped into, and it was perfect for me, who needed more room to figure things out. So interesting, because you bring up, it does sound different for once. Something new, some new sound on the record.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, that's good. It gave me a new way to explore these things. Because like you're saying, there can be a repetition of this type of music, maybe, that you're given sort of the same template to write within.
Well, and again, I wanted to say, with the little narrow context of this kind of music that I have, to me, this sounds like what I think all of it sounds like. Mm-hmm. Because that's all I know. So I'm sure within, there's the little subsections of this type of music. So I'm sure to you, this is vastly different. And I read, this is their completely different album from their other stuff. Mm-hmm. I didn't listen to the other stuff because that's my whole thing. I don't do that. But I said, I can't believe it's that much different.
I also will say, like, if you're not into this, I don't think you're going to go listen to their other stuff. I think this is the best to this point. There's the one album before this, super heavy. It's more just, there's not really a story, but all the songs are very cool. They're about time and death, whatever.
Sure.
Super heavy. Also, another one of my favorite producers did that one, Kurt Ballou from Converge. So another band that sort of uses this like heavy riff, fueled bass to put things on. That's just very chaotic and loud and messy in a cool way. So I think he got that out of them, but this was like a new way to do it. I think that's a little more focused. And so within that, I think you're right. Like, you can pull out, it's like if I were to drink wine, it all to me tastes the same. I don't know. People are like, it tastes like straw, or there's a barnyard, or like the tannins in I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not even like trying to be like, I don't get it. Like, I literally can be like, yeah, I guess it's sweeter, or like, I understand what you mean by it tastes drier.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But this, like, I can understand, and with this, I can pull out some of the things they're doing. They kind of, it's like, I feel like they're doing some, this one, stoner metal stuff, but just at a faster tempo, where stoner metal is like riffs that are slower, and it's heavier, and there's sort of this like meditative state to it that is cool, and they're like speeding that up, and so there is that base of like, there are these riffs that they're going to be doing throughout, and you can say, yeah, it kind of sounds the same, which it's fine. If you like that, then good.
Yeah,
I want
of
that
course.
then.
Of course.
And each one is different versions of that, and then there's stuff like this, or it remembers. That are outliers, I'd say, but I don't know. They're all like good musicians. When people are like, they've never done, it's like, well, yeah, because maybe they feel they can do that now. Yeah. And they won't be seen as like, because there are people that, as nice as people are about music, they can turn and be a dick about like, this song sucks because it's like he's singing. It's like, shut up. Like, you only listen to people screaming. That's it. You only listen to metal. You've never heard someone sing, and then that automatically makes it bad. Right. Like, that's what music is.
You're stupid.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I like this one because it, like you said, that there's a difference to it. He is touching on things he's touched on before. When all I am is a stone that says the name I had in the years that I had been. The quiet depths and the measured steps won't echo like the shriek of riot did. Which is cool.
It's cool.
And he's singing that more so than the other stuff. And I think that is because of the way it sticks out. I think.
There's a melody.
Yeah.
I love this song. This is a great song.
Nice.
This is
melody.
This is my favorite song on the album.
Wow.
That's a great chorus.
I'm glad to hear it, because this one always sneaks up on me as it's like lower in the album, and it gets to him like, oh yeah, because it starts out a little slow. Not that I'm mad about that, But then like those drums are really heavy at the beginning.
Yeah. No, this is great. This is a great song. And then we get like the breakdown version of the chorus at the end
where
when
it's
he's
like
kind
halftime.
of screaming it. That's what I like. So like I'm not against people screaming. I just like it to matter. Mm-hmm. Like when you get to that, to me, this is the first time that it really feels like a payoff. Like this is cathartic.
Let's go to that because there's also this line before it with the flower that's cool that leads it.
We lost sleep, but we found our way. Sharpen your axe against the road.
Talking about.
Oh!
Such courage pulls us down. We ride on. Such courage pulls us down. We ride on.
And then goes through this and then back to. It is kind of. Well, and going off what he's saying too about this, their longest song, and it breaks down just to the simple.
This is a ripper.
There's a payoff because I think the length, you benefit from the length of the song.
Yeah, but you can do that in a 3-minute song.
You can, but I think this reads sort of as this short, the small epic.
Yeah, it's kind
where
of an
you've
epic,
got
yeah.
the heavier beginning, but you've got like you can the guitar and everything leading into it is all different, leading you into this sort of new song.
Yeah,
like you said, you get the clean chorus, and then at the end, he hits you with that as you've kind of gone through this. Which is why I'm like, it's kind of the southern metal, like the stoner metal thing, which I really like as someone that doesn't be a stoner. Like, it sounds cool, but all those songs can be like 10 minutes, 12 minutes long, and you get this sort of into it like that. And this song doesn't seem that long to me. When I just read it's the longest song they've ever done, I never thought about that. But
yeah.
And my flower in your barrel hasn't stopped the slaughter yet. It's a cool little lead into that. So spent we can't be saved. We lost sleep, but we found our way. Sharpen your axe against the road. Don't hold out hope. That's like the Pink Spiders are trying to. It's like, if I can only be that clever. So spent we can't be saved. You're like, oh my God.
We lost sleep, but we found our way.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
We sharpen our axe against the road.
Whoa.
Okay.
You don't usually do that. Don't hold out hope.
So, I mean, what do you want me to say? I like this song. This episode's all about you, isn't it? Well, because you're the one that hasn't heard it. You said you liked it. What am I supposed to say?
This is my favorite song on the album.
Awesome. I love to hear that.
This chorus rocks hard.
Yes. Not my favorite song on the album, but it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
When that first hit, when all I am, like, yes.
Now you get it.
I know you can do it. Mm-hmm. Actually, you shouldn't have had this on the album because now I want more of this.
Gosh, should I have brought the next album? No. We're good here.
And that chorus is lyrically awesome.
Yeah.
You already read it, so I'm not going to say it again, but just a great... I almost say it close with this song because it is kind of that epic, and I think it is the sort of encapsulation of sort of the themes he's working with throughout the full album. Now I know people like map change,
and we'll get there because I want to hold off on that because what you said earlier was real, and what you just said now was just as real, but not as brightly lit.
You stupid.
Jeez.
See, that's a good riff.
Yeah.
They save all their good stuff for the end. I'm kidding. I know you love this album, and I love you. So
Well, I love
it.
you too, but I'm sorry I brought you this. Stupid.
I'm just happy you're happy. Chiefs Kingdom.
I mean, there's nothing for me to say here other than this is awesome.
What do you think of the Chiefs Kingdom?
I think it could be a dynasty. If like they got the pick for the next season or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I do the tomahawk chalk in my sleep.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah, it's gonna be a dynasty. I think. Got that quarterback's best player in the world ever. That's played. What about Kelsey Grammer? Is that something? They should have done that on SNL.
Yeah, when he hosted.
Yeah, like he's Frasier.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Hey, everybody.
And he like leaves his wife when she's pregnant or whatever Kelsey Grammer did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's some Beverly Hills bullshit. This song is cool to me.
Camille, we love you. Go ahead.
All respect for Camille. This song's cool.
Camille.
I don't really know what it's about.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure. Let there be shade, unilluminated.
This
Nothing
one
will
is
change
more-
if you don't lead with your shadow.
To me, this song sounds more like some of the stuff that came before this album, where there's not like, I know the clear story of you and your wife or whatever. It's just like, it's a song.
Yeah.
And I don't always know what the meaning of a song is other than it sounds cool.
And that's okay.
But I like this one. It's just like, I kind of get why it's lower down on the album. We're kind of getting to the end here. It's not to say that I don't like it. I just don't know if it fits the criteria of the other songs of fitting the narrative.
Pop this one off.
You take it off the album?
I put the other one, the one I said before.
Ocean Empty?
Yep.
Yeah.
Throw that one on. I don't know right here. I think I like where it was in their sequencing, but I think you can probably.
We'll get through these two. Well, that's my thing is when you talk about some of the songs sounding the same, I can see that with this one.
Yeah.
Where this one does not stick out to me. I don't think as far as I've seen them, I don't think they ever played it live. It wasn't like we got to do that. It's more like here's one that's on the album, and
It feels just kind of like
it's more.
we should probably have
another song.
another song.
Yeah.
But it's whatever.
Whatever. That's what year did Star Wars come out?
1977.
This one. Oh, here we go. Just a little. There we go. Paul Revere's Pizza. This kind of blends with Just As Real to me, you know?
Yeah.
The last song. These two kind of fit together in the sort of, okay, I think we're at the end of the album here. And you've got 2 more bangers, and I like the sound. Like I said, that's what I like.
Yeah.
I like putting this on and people see my car going all over the road. But I like this one better than the previous one just because it distinguishes itself a little bit more with the breaks and everything, and the life isn't ours, we are property of life. But it's touching on some similar stuff as the rest of the album. So yeah, I think they're leading up to what you have said people like, which is the final song on the album. You got anything about 1977? Or you agree with that?
I agree. I
Kind of
agree.
samey.
It's a little samey, but of course, to me, most of it has been.
Right, which is why when I see these 2, I go, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
These final penultimate ones are a little too samey.
Yeah.
But I like that sound of theirs. As they've gotten heavier and everything, it's just...
Again, I think you could pop both of those.
And put the 2 others?
I think so. I think I might like the other 2 better.
Let's hit on this last one, and we'll
check
touch
those
on those
out.
quickly.
Okay.
MapQuest. MapQuest. Oh my God! Hey, if you're drinking a little cuppa at night, I don't think you're gonna come out unscathed. You're just stupid. Map change is
Map turn.
well. I'll talk about it after. That's
Hey.
not how we do the show.
MapQuest used to be my go-to for if I didn't know where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was like Yahoo Maps, Google Map. It's safe to say I had a map change.
That guitar. Is that loud enough? My voice.
What do you want to say?
That's cool.
Whoa. Powerful.
It has to be done.
They've become too powerful.
We're shaking Atlantis. Oh my God.
Could you imagine?
I assure you that hell is not we both vacation hell is not
Just thinking about his pedals hitting you.
in the head. Oh my God. The fact that this isn't one of the best songs you've ever heard is just crazy to me.
Oh,
and that's
my
fine.
God.
When this came on the album, I said, this is when as I talked about leading up, every song on the, like all their albums just got better and better. You get to the end of this one and you're just like, holy shit. And I was, again, not the only person with this. I think it was widely regarded as like, this is the best song on the album. It's a great ending song. It quickly became the final song they would play at all their live shows. Like, and it's crazy to me, the band putting out whatever their sixth album or what, like usually you're ending on, we're going to do something from our second album, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like to then come out with the new song that everyone agrees is like, you have to end every show with this song.
Yeah.
Is crazy. People go nuts. I've seen them like throwing equipment off the stage. Like you get on stage with them. Like people are knocking things over. He gets to like the middle of the song Like, I assure you that hell is not a myth it's just such a dark, like that's a break, like that's the kind of stuff that I feel calls for that sort of like breakdown, tense energy in the middle. We both vacation there. Like
We both vacation there.
It's just the things he
Kind of a
chooses to
funny
say
thing
are
to scream.
that's like the things he chooses to say are so interesting. I assure you that hell is not a myth. We both vacation there. We spend each winter there. The storm comes in the cities, abandoned ships going like it's just a crazy. But every time I've seen them, people go bananas for this, and I love it because I was like, I love this song, and it's nice to be when you see them finally, and it's like, oh, everyone loves this. And like the last several times I saw them, they ended with this song, and it's just nuts. Stuff gets destroyed. It truly is one of those things where it is scary, and you have to move. Like you have to get out of the way of what's happening, and I just love it because everyone's happy about it.
That's crazy.
It's yeah. So I know you're gonna say this is all essentially the same, right?
What do you mean? No, I like the song.
Where's the
This is probably second or third of favorite of mine.
Let's go to this part, I think.
The glory I had witnessed was just a sleight of hand.
How'd I do that?
These hearts cannot be salvaged.
This build up is, you know, I like the sleight of hand, man.
Yeah. He said, my buddy the magician likes that.
Now I'm in the negative space between.
I've either been forgotten or I was never seen. Think about that. This is where, and you can hear it in his voice without the screaming too, I feel like. Love the guitar.
Trying to save it way down the earth. Through the stars to the pavement. I'm way down the earth. Not sure I can take it. I've fallen out afraid.
I can't think of a better way to end this show. This is the song where I saw them once and I was like, oh no, he screwed his voice up. And then the last time I got to see them, it was incredible. It was like sounded so good after all their songs being so heavy to like be able to hit the notes you need to hit. For this part he probably did in the studio, like completely removed
Right.
from
Yeah.
the other days of screaming.
I didn't scream for a month before
Yeah.
I did this. Yeah.
Sounded awesome.
That's great.
I've weighed down there. It's just I don't know, something about the lyrics. Isn't that music?
Yeah, I like this song a lot. I
This-
think it's interesting. There are
That's what it was so interesting. Where it's like, why is this the last song on the album? And then it was like fucking 4 or 5 years to the next one. Then you get a double album, which is wonderful. They're some of their best. I don't know how they did it. None of them liked each other or whatever.
that's what's crazy.
But it's such a good album that like comes after this, which is very cool. But just to stay with this album,
yeah, please.
great. I don't know. I mean, it might be my favorite song on the album just because when I got to it myself, I was like, yeah, this is this kind of ties together the idea of the whole album
Yeah.
in a great way. It sounds different from the other stuff. The truth is the thing we forget. The hell?
I see a lot of Me Without You in this.
Thank you, sir. You mean
Us.
you want to kill me? Clenched in the jaws of anguish are only godless men.
See?
Chaos is drawn to silence like life is drawn to death. Interesting. The dusk is so much clearer than the dawn had ever been. I'm a ghost, and yet I've weighed down the earth. Wow. I love his lyrics. That was the sad thing about them breaking up was they started a new band, and I was like, well, what's he going to do? He did some acoustic sets and stuff with some of their I don't know, softer songs, which was cool to hear. But I'm glad he's getting to do some more stuff.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite on the album. Then probably Petal. Religion of Speed is up there. I think, like you're saying though, I think if you go from Religion of Speed to this song, that's, if it's not the last on the album, it's second to last. That's a winning combo. That's pepperoni cheese combos. You know?
Yeah, I think so, because those other two just kind of slow down the momentum of having a couple kick-ass songs.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I like the whole album.
Yeah.
So let's very quickly, we'll just play a bit of this.
Sure.
Nothing Visible, Ocean Empty. And we're just going to play some of this.
I like this riff. This is better than like 50% of the riffs on all the other songs.
That's why whenever I hear it, I forget about it.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that they just weren't done in time.
Yeah, that could be.
Because this, like you said, this could easily replace one of the last two.
I think so.
And it's got that kind of clean chorus that's different.
Yeah.
It just I don't know. It sticks out a little more to me. But because I've listened to this version so much, whenever this comes on, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's like fun to hear because I haven't heard it as much.
Yeah. I get that.
So that's cool. I like that one.
That was one of my favorites on the album.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's just not on there.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me show you my Skin Without Bones.
Ah!
Ooh.
Don't worry. it turns into what you want it to. I like this one too.
This one feels a little bit more like those last two.
Yeah. But I think it still feels more different than those two.
Yeah.
Just with that drum beat at the beginning. And this is cool.
His screaming there is crazy. It just, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, is it just because like there's a song on the album where he says I'm joining a cult, and this one's got me a voodoo doll. So like maybe they're just going, there's something too much of the same there, or maybe it's not that, but
there's 10 other songs about what if I die.
Yeah, every time.
You know, I don't know. I understand your point.
But that's the minutia you get into, I think, when you're sequencing this stuff.
Of course. I like those songs better than a few of the ones that are on there.
That's fair. I think they're great, especially Nothing Visible is just, it doesn't make sense to me that it's not on the album. They also put out, I think, well, I don't know. No, never mind.
Okay.
I'm not even going to say it. They put out a couple albums. So
I'll have to check those out.
All right. So that was
Low Teens
by Every Time I Die. But maybe I was thinking of Salem, which was the EP they put out after their album before this one, where they had like a couple songs on there. I was like, these are awesome. What do you? So whatever. Yeah, truly one of my favorite albums, I think, only maybe surpassed by some of what comes on the next album. Like I said, 16 songs, 50 minutes, so just a lot to go through, and you already know that we're going to take too long. But I think there's the message on this album, too, is something we can talk about and get into, and I've always, since this came out, it's been my favorite of theirs.
Yeah.
Just surpassing each and every album before it. Was there something I was going to say to you? Well, what are your final
Well, there was
thoughts on
one
it?
hanging Chad that you said there was a lyric that reminded you of the Pink
Yeah.
Spider. Was it the cigarette? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think that was the same. In some song, they mention a cigarette. I don't remember which one it was.
Of Pink Spiders?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one time they mention a cigarette on the album.
So when they said cigarette, I said, Joey's going to point this out.
And I think it's cool when he does it.
Yeah.
What I need is a cigarette, no more prayers. Which is that's the base of that. Like, here's what I need, this base human thing. I'm like, what I need is this. I don't need any more prayers. Just give me my cigarette. And that's how I feel most of the time. I'm constantly screaming at my boss, stop praying for me. So that made me think of Pink Spiders, which was one of the reasons I picked this album too. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious of me. I'm a scamp.
You're a dirty, dirty scamp.
Scamp, and I'm a little tramp. And did I have something else to say about this band? I'm sure I do, but that's all she wrote. They broke up.
What do we know? What happened with his wife, who he brought back to life by praying to God?
Apparently he said
Just
after all that stuff happened and getting sober and stuff, he realized in his words, he realized his relationship was unhealthy and it was something that couldn't be fixed. I don't really know. They'd been together since like high school or something. And the last time I saw them, he was there with his new girlfriend. And it was like, and that's when they were kind of hanging off on their own. And I said, something's strange here.
Something strange.
But I don't know. He's done some. Oh, what I did want to say, if you're still watching this, what I did want to say was. No, I didn't want to say what I wanted to say was.
Okay,
well, there's one thing to say.
You can say it. Just say it.
Well, because here's the big thing. I realized there's two things I want to say. Well, this is why we do the show, right?
What the hell is happening? We do the show because you have something you want to say. Yes.
I appreciate you listening to this because I know it's not what you're into.
Of course.
But I feel like it's a little bit different than if I listen to Jukebox the Ghost, where I might not be into that album. Mm-hmm. I feel like stuff like this can be abrasive to people.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like where one thing might be like, I don't like this. This stuff can be like, I don't want to listen to this, and it's abrasive. So I appreciate it. That's why we're doing the show. And I think it's good in terms of reviews, you usually have one person talking about it. It's either for them or not for them. Yeah. I think it's good for us to have two people discussing why they would review it as one of their favorite albums, and someone else would say, I don't want to listen to this.
Yeah. Well, and I think the project of the show is there's a whole world of music that I have no real knowledge of because I've already decided that I don't want that knowledge based on the fact that I don't like it. But I think it's good to dip your toes in stuff that you don't normally like because you might find something you do like.
Mm-hmm. And when like this or other genres, something you might bring me where like, why would I ever listen to Jellyfish or whatever? I just wouldn't find it or think I want to do that when I'm listening to more stuff like this.
Yeah.
And like you said, in those genres, there's like any genre of music, there's lots of bad stuff. Or just stuff that's...
It's hard to know what to try.
Right.
Like, based on what? An album cover? That's hard to do. Like, I would never have picked up Jellyfish based on the album cover.
Right.
And, we talked about that. And but I have someone I trust telling me which I should check out.
I think the album I got into them with was Gutter Phenomenon, and I think the album cover is terrible.
Yeah,
and they've since apologized for that whole album, and it's it's like their weakest album, and their next one's great. It's not. I don't know about the cut. I don't. It's like
Well, it's hard. There's so much music. There's so little time. Mm-hmm. It's hard to know what to try, and especially if it's like a gamble. Like, I don't even know if I like this kind of music.
Well, and in that realm of you've probably listened to stuff you don't like in the world that you like.
Yeah.
So you know what not to bring someone.
Yeah.
Because you're more well versed in that, whatever.
Sure.
So, one other thing.
Okay.
When this album came out, he's written 2 books.
Yo, I was going to ask you about that.
Scale
Yeah.
and Watch, which I have here. I got the signed edition, so we won't just be... Look at that.
Whoa.
So this is Watch by Keith Buckley. I have not read Scale just because I have a thing with like artists, like musicians writing books.
Yeah. They're usually bad.
Yeah, I was going to say it's unfair, but it's not, because it's like, I'm going to try this, and it's like maybe seems a little self-important, and maybe it could be good. Like, I want to read Crying in H Mart. I like
great.
Japanese breakfast, but I have that thing of like...
Well, that's a little different, I think, than
this.
Yeah, because that's just... Not just, it's fucking beautiful, but... It's a little different in that it's a biography, in a way, or like a memoir. Where this is a novel, right? And
this is a novel.
Scale is a novel.
Was, and I think Scale was a guy in his 30s that was in a band. You know, it's sort of like
it was like kind of a memoir.
It's like a made up memoir, but it's kind of in the world that he knows.
Yeah.
And I just sometimes I'm like, I don't want to. Sometimes I'm just worried to like I like him and I like his lyrics and I like his band, and I don't want to then get his book that he's like, I wrote a book and it like sucks.
Yeah.
And it just makes you nervous to like read it.
Yeah.
This Watch is about a guy that decides to, his watch breaks and he decides instead of getting it fixed, he's just going to do away with time altogether. And so it's written insane because everything is happening. Like it's almost, I think Kurt Vonnegut does it maybe cleaner, where where you're going through time to different places, but it's sort of that where he's dealing with where he is now, and then all of a sudden the next sentence you realize you're somewhere else, and he's remembering sort of all things at once as he's going through his day. It's probably truly one of the most depressing novels. It's clearly tied to this. It came out after this, but like in this song, I think he says something about his watch is broken down that ties to this.
Sure.
It's a novel about a guy whose child dies in childbirth.
Oh.
And then his wife kills herself because of it. And he finds out she did not love him. She had probably slept with someone the day after their wedding. She had slept with their friends that try to sleep with him. He's like a drunk. He lives in this house that's disgusting.
Yeah.
But the way it's written is like, it's like these lyrics sort of on steroids, where like his description of dealing with, his mom dies in a car crash. His dad disowns him. It's just like one of those things where you're like, dude, it's like, why
maybe
put me through this?
Take one of those off.
And, but the way he deals with like hearing that his child has died, or his mom died in this car crash, the way he kind of stream of conscious goes through all the metaphors like he does in his lyrics is incredible.
Yeah.
I love it. It's some people I read like on Goodreads, people are like, this is awesome. And some people are like, I could not follow this.
Yeah.
Which I can see that. I think it falls a little short in like if it was just all the descriptions, it would be great. When it gets into the dialogue between people, it's a little like no one talks this way in the way that's not like
stylized.
It's not stylized.
Yeah.
It's just like, I always sit here when I'm in the bar or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck. So there's that is like a weak point of it, but everything else is just awesome. And it's cool to see that, but it is directly tied to, it's almost like him saying, what if the worst case scenario happened to me?
Yeah.
And this stuff, obviously.
And then my watch broke.
I know, that's the worst thing. And then you're like, it's snowy out or whatever, and he has to he gets a boner. It's all over the place. But just him describing like finding out about this stuff.
Just thumb through it.
Yeah. It's I put it off reading it for a while too, because I also wanted to read it and I thought the cover was cool.
Yeah, it's
cool. Of this one, and it sounded a little more interesting. That I was like, I'll try this one and go back to his first one, and it's
that's rich.
Yeah. It's a quick read, but I just, because so much of what he does is heavily based on the lyrics, I think people that appreciate that about him can read that novel. And I don't know if people just coming to it from an outsider's point of view would like deal with, being a little forgiving about someone's second novel. That's the thing. It's still a book. It's not lyrics. But it comes off as very lyrical and poetic. And there was like a bundle. They bundled this with the lyrics to Low Teens sort of as like a companion, which was interesting. There's a few bands that I listen to that do that where I've bought their albums and it comes with a book of poetry or something. Yeah. And it's cool when it's like a heavier band like this or a punk band that's very heavy. And then it's like, here's some poetry to go with it. It's like a companion. So there's that. Just a little side piece to the main feast.
Speaking of band guys, pieces. Have you ever read any of the Mountain Goats guys' books?
What's the one? The new one, Hell House or something? Yeah, I wanted to read that one. Yeah, and I saw mixed reviews.
I read Universal Harvester.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to try them. I just saw people. That was
and I don't even. I've listened to some of his music, but
that was the only thing where I was like, I don't really listen to them, so I don't have a reference.
Yeah, but that's why I was more inclined to actually read it.
That's what I'm saying.
So I said, I'll give you a chance.
Then I saw mixed reviews for that one, so I was like, maybe I'll try a different one, and I just haven't yet.
Yeah,
but it's just an interesting thing when you like, do I want to read a book by a guy that's not an author? Like,
right.
Couldn't I be reading something?
But then it's like someone like this who you know you like their writing.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see them try it in a different medium.
And that's why it's just, I don't know, it's interesting how lyrical stuff can come off in here. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I could pull out one, but I'm not going to.
No.
They're just...
Not this late.
No. But it's cool. I would say if you got $17.95 and you want to read a Barnacle book, which is an imprint of Rare Bird books. So that's that. I would give this album 8.5 just because of a couple of those things we talked about. Some of the samesies on there, but yeah, that's me.
Oh, God. Well, I have to rate this in a way that's fair to you and the rest of the world, in that I have nothing like it to compare to.
Right.
And I don't like this kind of music.
Yeah.
For the most part. There are 4 or 5 songs on here that I liked. Mm-hmm. And the rest kind of all, I like the lyrics. That's another plus. So I think I have to give it a 5.5.
Okay. That's maybe higher than I thought you were going to go.
I
thought between a 4 and a 6, so I guess 5.5 is pretty
good.
But 6 is probably too high for...
I mean, I'll never listen to this again.
Right.
I might throw on a couple of the songs, though.
I would say if you're going to give them a try, if you listen to Thing with Feathers, the song with Andy from Manchester Orchestra. I think you'd like that. There's a song on there called White Void, which is really good, more clean singing stuff. Mm-hmm. That's just very cool. And but yeah, I think that's a fair rating.
I might give Radical a spin, top to bottom, just to
feel it out,
just to see what's going on. Because again, I don't dislike the screaming. I don't dislike the musicianship. Sure. It just doesn't fully coalesce for me in something that hooks me,
that you want to listen to.
Yeah. And I hope that's okay, everyone. I will bring whatever thing you want to bring. Don't let this deter you.
I don't think it has. I think it's made me feel a little better but I just know there's stuff I'm going to bring you that you're not going to like. And I don't want to bring anything that's going to just annoy you.
Yeah.
And you're like I had to listen to this twice and now I'm just like, you're annoyed with me.
Sure.
I don't want to do that. I want to bring you stuff I genuinely like, but I don't think I'm just going to find those things to test you. I want to do this the way we've been doing it.
Yeah.
But this was, to me, seemed like not the biggest stepping stone to get into that stuff.
Sure.
So with that being said, what you got?
I'm going to continue. Here's what I'm going to do this week. We're going to continue the Pink trilogy.
Okay.
I brought Pink. You bring Pink. I bring another Pink. This, I think.
The Pink trilogy sounds like me staying in a hostel with a couple.
What? I believe that this will bring us both back into the inverted butt cheeks of earbuds, just to get us back into a little sweet spot before we carry on a little farther. This is something I found months ago on Bandcamp, like I teased not 3 hours ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I forgot. Jesus Christ.
Because I often go on Bandcamp and just check the new and noteworthy. I see what's going on, what people are liking on Bandcamp. Typically, that doesn't really cross over into the mainstream. What's going on Bandcamp. Now, recently, I've seen this album and this artist being given, I believe, Mr. What's-His-Nuts, Fantano,
Needle Drop.
the Needle Drop, said this was his favorite album of the year, I believe. And now people are reviewing. I just saw reviews. Needle Drop's favorite album reviewed. Like other people are reviewing the album just because he said it's his favorite album.
Who is he? Why did
I don't get it, but I want that.
Aren't we doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Just he does it in like the way he should, which is in 3 minutes.
Yeah. He says
people's attention span.
Yeah. He says, I don't like this because everyone else does.
Yeah.
And then he gives it a 3.
I wonder if I know what this is.
This is Jeff Rosenstock.
Oh, Hell Mode.
Hell Mode.
Okay. Awesome.
Have you listened?
Here's, I'll say this. I love Jeff Rosenstock. I loved his old band. Listened to it all the time. I have not listened to Hell Mode yet. I don't know why, just because I listen to a lot of stuff. That's my only reason. But I liked his last album. Bomb the Music Industry was his old band. Awesome stuff. So I think you're on the right track. I've heard nothing but good things about this album, and I've been waiting for a special time to listen to it. Truly. So that's great.
This will bring back.
I'm going to go buy it. I'm going to the record store, and I'm going to buy the copy that I know they have there to listen to it.
Okay.
So you're really there's a lot of pressure on you.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't.
Stupid bitch.
Yeah, don't do that.
But no, I haven't listened to it yet. But I will say Bandcamp is like, I listened to their metal radio show by Brad Sanders, who's a reviewer, and I've found a lot of stuff that I will then pop over to Apple Music and do it. So if that's do that, but let's listen to
Hell Mode, Jeff Rosenstock.
Maybe I won't, but I don't know if I'm going to buy it. No, I know I have to.
Now you have to, so we can have 2 copies on the table.
Yeah, that'll be
awesome.
Fun. Cool. Well, the last time we did that was another Pink album.
That's true.
Bye.
Bye.
Each week we listen to an album, here's our mind. Just know it's gonna take about 3 hours of your time to hear us complain or praise each other's taste. But no matter what, at the end of the day, we're just best friends who love different music. We are earbuds, earbuds, earbuds. This is earbuds.